What is going on, YouTube people? Northeast Ohio Cards and Comics here for a NBA trade deadline live stream. And it was a wild one, that is for sure. I was trying to finish my video for tomorrow before hopping on here, but I got stuck playing video games, ran late, got the video recorded, but didn't get the thumbnail done. So I'll have to finish that up after the old live stream here. But yeah, wild day in the NBA. We'll talk some NBA trade deadline. We may have a special guest or two at some point in time tonight. I have a couple invites floating out there, but we will dive into that here in just a few minutes. We'll let chat get a little warmed up, and then we'll dig in. 1 second. So, what was everyone's favorite deal today? Does anyone have one that was like, holy smokes, where'd that come from? The one that I shouldn't say favorite. What's the one that caught you the most off guard? For me, it was the Porzingis deal, just because I hadn't heard his name in anything. I'm not surprised that the Mavs made a trade, but I just hadn't heard his name rumored in literally anything at all. And then all of a sudden, he gets dealt, and that to me was probably the most questionable trade of the deadline too. I did not understand that deal at all. Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans suck. I mean, I know Porzingis isn't Porzingis anymore, but I don't know. That felt like a weird one to me anyway. That felt like the strangest of the deals. And like I said, we'll deep dive into this a little bit more. We'll kind of let chat get going a little bit, but that one specifically felt a little strange to me. That one made no sense. And I'll be curious to see if do card values shift off any of this stuff? Nets did get Ben Simmons. Yes, they did. 76ers got Harden. Nets got Ben Simmons. Card value wise, does Simmons get a bump? Probably just off the news alone that he got traded. He would probably get a bump. Yeah, but the fact that it was a money swap, like I just don't get it. Like, I don't know. Maybe I need to listen to some more talking heads on it. Like, I understand the money was all even, and I guess you're splitting one. The only appeal that I could see is you're splitting one large contract into two still not great contracts, but smaller contracts. And maybe it's just easier to get off of those than the Porzingis contract. But I feel like they're a worse team today than they were to start the day. So I question that aspect of it. I'd be curious for Luca's thoughts on this, though. I don't think he liked Porzingis very much, so maybe he doesn't really care as long as Porzingis is gone. I don't know. I don't know. No Filmington. Though I probably could shoot him an invite. I never think to invite him. Poor Filmington. If you're watching Filmington, let me know. I will bring you in. Sorry, I was just checking Instagram real quick. But the Harden thing was the biggest deal today, for sure. For sure. And I would be curious. So the big takeaway here is I think it's good for Embiid in the short term. As in, like, this season, they're probably now the favorite to come out of the East, depending on how this shakes out, in my opinion. Them and the Bucks and the Heat are probably the three favorite. I have the NBA standings pulled up here. Let me get some stuff ready here to pull up on screen. But for the short term, I really like the deal for the 76ers. They weren't going to get anything out of Simmons this year. So basically, they just gave up Seth Curry and some picks for Harden. And that's going to make them a lot better this year and probably even next year. My concern with that deal, which if they win an NBA championship in the next 2 years, you know what? None of it matters. It doesn't make a difference. It does not make a difference. Once you get one, that's all that matters. If they don't win and they have to sign him to a long-term contract, that's where I worry about this trade. If they have to give him like a 4 or 5 year max extension off this, and he's in his mid to late 30s making 50, 60 million a year, that gets a little scary to me. But if you win the title this year and then you have to extend them, that's the price you pay, and you just deal with it for the next, 4 or 5 years, and it is what it is because you got the ring. That's all that matters. The Cavs burned everything to the ground in 2016, 17, and 18 to make championship runs, and we got a ring out of it, and I couldn't have been happier. Then we went through some dark times, and now, now we're on the upswing again. Not most teams don't turn it around that fast, but I did not see the CSG pop report. I don't know that I care about a CSG pop report, but I did not see the CSG pop report. I just don't. I'm never at the present time. I have absolutely no reason to use CSG, and I have no need. I mean, I guess their pop report's fine. I don't think anyone's sending them cards good enough that you're going to care about to go look up on a pop report. If Embiid gets a bump, that's, maybe he should. His stuff's not expensive considering, I don't know, if the season ended today, who's your NBA MVP? It's probably Embiid, to be quite honest with you. He's been playing out of his mind. And his prices don't reflect that. His stuff's cheap. But that's big man bias. Joker stuff's not expensive, and he's having an MVP season too. And he's just coming off an MVP. Yeah, I didn't look into it that close, AP. I've been pretty busy since I got off work, and I got off work right at the buzzer. So I was keeping up with everything on Twitter, but I haven't had time to do like the what's the fallout contract wise and who got what pick protections and all that stuff. But if that's the case, then maybe that's why you do it. I still think it hurts him for this year, which is interesting. I got my first CSG slab in hand other than label. I think the case is the best. You're not wrong. The case on a CSG slab is flipping amazing. The problem is the label sucks. They probably grade too hard. They don't grade fair. They grade too tough, in my opinion, based off everything that I've seen. I haven't graded with them personally, but based off what I've seen. And to be honest, in the early stages, which to be fair, it's only the first couple weeks, the CCGers are kind of bungling this eBay authentication program so far in regards to how they're shipping these cards, in my opinion. Yeah, that was just a pickup on the option, Joel. It wasn't like a full 5-year extension, which is what I'm talking about. Bucks versus Suns tonight. I am excited for Cavs 76ers on Saturday. Suns are real good too. On paper, yeah, he should be, but I got a feeling there might be a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge in there. Any shot LeBron returns to the Cavs for a third time. I could see it for a retirement contract, not to play. When he's done with the Lakers, he's going to go to whatever team Bronny has. Bronny's on. I don't disagree, Joel. I think Embiid is the MVP so far. Yeah, LeBron is gonna go wherever Bronny goes. Whenever Bronny comes out, if he gets drafted, LeBron's gonna go to that team. I mean, we have a PSA backlog at 6 million cards. Do you think this means the return of economy near the end of the year? We have economy now. I literally sent off an economy order already. I have another economy order right here going off tomorrow on the lottery at $50. If you're talking about like bulk value service, that's a different story. If you're talking about economy, it kind of already exists. Is there a chance Zion ends up like Embiid? and hasn't played in the first 3 seasons. Potentially, I could possibly see that. I don't know what's going on with Zion. I'm flipping Steve in the background. I'll bring him in here in just a second. I'll give him a minute to get himself all situated back there. Um, the CJ McCollum trade is a weird one. Did they do that deal because Zion's about to come back and they're going to pull him out of Portland from his training camp and make a run for the playoffs? Or did they bring him in because they're close without Zion and they just want to get Griffin? David Griffin's just trying to play his job or save his job. Do I think cracking SGC to send the PSA is a play? 1,000% if it's the right cards and the right values. All right, we're going to bring Steve in here. I'm relatively caught up on chat. What is up, Steven? Fresh from the ocean waters. You do not have any audio. We cannot hear you.
Oh, hold on.
Nah, I gotcha. You're good now.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Rejuvenated, fresh from the back to tank. I wish I had a back to tank. That'd be sweet.
I think those walks are your back to tank.
Yeah, the Atlantic Ocean is my back to tank right now.
The ice cold Atlantic Ocean. Does it work the same?
Looking nice and smooth. Got a little bit of color up there. It's not 100%, not 100% cue ball action, but
he's gearing up for Atlanta. He's getting ready.
I would put a little shake and bake, a little shake and bake, drop the dizzle on somebody, but I wish. We'll see.
You won't see me. You won't see my fat ass on that basketball court. They'll have to have paramedics on standby.
I'm telling you, like I said in my walks, up until COVID, I played regularly. I still played regularly. There was 2 courts, the Parks and Rec court, and then there was another court. I used to play at 3 a.m. in the morning when I got off the casino. It was an outdoor court with lights. And when you work at the casino, you got to make time. You got to use your time when you can. So if you're working nights and getting off at like 2 in the morning and you're still awake, that's when me and the guys from the casino were going and playing at this court at nighttime that had outdoor lights and stuff, just charge up the lights and you can play. And then it just hasn't been happening with COVID because you can't go in the Parks and Rec gym and things like that without, you can't playing basketball with a mask on is difficult. So,
yeah,
with me, it's just all about the aches and pains of my joints at this point. And that's what I'm trying to work on because I'm not ready to not play anymore, man. It's too fun.
Charles says free throw contest, game a horse for PMGs. horse for PMGs. Yeah.
I tried to send that dog to dig up some PMGs for me today, but he didn't come back with anything.
I was in and out of that live stream a little bit. I had a call I was on. Couple SGC questions here. I assume you're on board with the cracking SGC to send the PSA as a play. I think it's 1,000% a play as long as the math checks out.
It is. So
the math has to check out. You got to run the numbers.
Yeah, you still definitely need to look at that card.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I have a PSA 9 Dwayne Wade Topps Chrome, and I have a SGC 9.5 Dwayne Wade Topps Chrome. And I was thinking, I could crack this SGC 9.5, and if I get a 10, it's a great value. If I get a 9, I probably don't lose much, if anything, because the PSA 9 might be going for about the same amount. No, I don't know. I haven't checked the market.
It's probably slightly under.
But then when I looked at the card itself, I looked at the SGC 9.5, and I know a lot of people say SGC 9.5s, SGC grades harder. I don't think it's going to 10. So at this point, I'm just kind of like, I might as well just keep it. It might be a little less liquid in the 9.5, but when I do sell it, it'll probably get a little bit more money because it doesn't look like it'll cross to a PSA 10. So it's not always going to be a case of.
Yeah, you definitely still want to look the card over. You don't just blindly buy the slab.
Yeah, right.
And I would definitely if I'm going to do it, I like to look at SGC 9.5s.
Yeah,
because you're getting a steep discount on it. Not everyone's going to cross, but if you look them over good and you think it looks pretty good, because then, like you said, you're limiting your downside risk. Because if you do get a 9, maybe you're out of grading fee, so you're definitely gonna throw a risk factor in there. But if it comes back at 10, you're probably making so much extra that it's probably worth it, especially if you're sending it multiples.
Ultimately, what I would say is just approach it like a raw card. When you're buying raw cards, you're really looking over them in hopes that they're gradable to be 10s, right? So if you're looking over SGC slabs, just look at them and hope that they're gradable to be 10s. Sometimes that could be a 9. Sometimes it could be a 9.5. Surprisingly, we've seen crazy stuff cross. Not surprisingly, but so just evaluate cards inside of slabs as if you were evaluating a raw card. Don't just take it for, okay, this is graded this by this company, so this company will give me this. Evaluate the card as if it was a raw card as well.
Yeah.
And so with that, you're probably going to, most of it you're going to want to do buying, in person.
Joel asks, "There's ever a point where SGC 10 equals PSA 10?" I personally don't think so. They might close the gap a little bit, but I don't think they ever equal or surpass PSA. It would take something absolutely batshit crazy for that to happen, I think.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I had hoped that in the past. We did see it during the shutdown. At one time, I did see a Zion Prism base and an SGC 10 outsell a Zion PSA 10 base. But that was when that was before they came out with the YouTube video where he kind of stuck his foot in his mouth and said, "Send us your cards, we're open." And then they got backlogged. At that point, they were gaining ground, even on Ultra Modern, to the point to where I remember that sale, watching both auctions because I was curious if they were going to go similar to each other, because I wanted to know if it was worth sending my cards to SGC. And I remember an SGC 10 outselling a PSA 10. And it was short-lived, and I don't know if it'll ever happen again. I doubt that it'll ever happen again on ultra modern stuff. We are seeing SGC 9s in older cards pulling equal to PSA 9s on some items, but it's on older stuff, 80s and prior. And SGC 9s on ultra modern is almost an impossible sell.
Yeah, and I mean, the SGC 9s and PSA 9s selling close together, I don't think is that far out of left field, even on modern stuff. Maybe 9 gets a slight premium, but one thing I've noticed, and a lot of people in my videos have been commenting, that PSA 9s are actually trending down closer to raw value in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
And SGC 9s have always been slightly, basically right at raw value. And I think a lot of people were like, well, why are PSA 9s selling for raw? That doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, well, it kind of does. When you consider the amount of PSA 10s that are out there, it devalues the PSA 9 in a lot of cards. So,
yeah,
why would you want the PSA 9 of a 20,000 pop count Zion Prism base when there's 20,000 PSA 10s? You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm not surprised the PSA 9s are trending close to raw.
Yeah, that's what's happening. A lot of people were always talking about, is PSA 9 a great value? It's still a 9. It's still a mint card. And when the population of 10s outweighs the population of 9s, that's a problem.
Yeah, I think there's still good plays on silvers and hollows and that mid-tier stuff. If you can't afford the 10 on even in the down market, a Luka Optic Hollow 10 is still $3K. A 9 is $500, $600. I still think that's a legitimate play. But on base cards, I would definitely not want a PSA 9.
Right. Yeah, on really low numbered stuff or low pop stuff, it makes better sense. On the base stuff, that stuff's becoming a dime a dozen. You're seeing lots of cards in PSA 9s that aren't even worth the grading fee. They're not even worth the plastic that the cards are in. You shoot over to my slabs and look at some of the newer listings. You can tell that people are getting back cards that were sent in, during the bulk run. And you look and you question, why is this card even in a slab, period? So it's crazy. At the time, it may have made sense. Some cards that you see slabbed. Now you look at some of these cards and you're like, man, what a waste of resources and time and money and everything to have to do that.
Yeah. So the PSA economy queue thing, to answer this question, it is random. It doesn't matter when you join the waiting room. You just need to be in the waiting room prior to noon or whatever time the event kicks off. And then when the event launches, everyone in the waiting room gets randomized. That's how it works. I've gotten in at all different times. I've got in twice now. I got 2 orders that I sent off. One's there now. The other one is sitting. I just boxed it up today to go off.
Yeah, I've never tried to get into the queue yet. I'm just not going to race or try to compete for someone's business. I mean, basically, that's what you're doing. I mean, I know you want it, and it's cool to get in. But for me, as a customer, I'm basically racing to get your service. I'll just wait until it opens up, or the cards that I send, I'll just send in at, the rate that I can send them in myself without having to compete for someone's service.
Yeah, I just have a lot of stuff that makes sense at a $50 level that does not make sense
Yeah.
at a $100 level. So,
Well, a lot of the stuff that would make sense for me at a $50 level, I'm just willing to wait on. So eventually it'll open up to where you don't have to race, to get to it.
I think eventually it's going to be a lot cheaper too.
Yeah, still might have a cap. They might cap it, just but I don't like the queue system. I never did it with HGA, and I know that's an obsolete discussion now, but at one time that was a legitimate discussion of people racing to get into HGA queues.
Yeah, I think instead of there's been people talk about this on Twitter. I know I forget his name now. I think Bowman 1952 or 51 on YouTube, and another guy Slap City, I think, that I follow on Twitter, talk about this a lot. Would they be better off just to say like, hey, every silver member gets 5 cards for the month of January, rather than doing these events twice a week or whatever, and then everyone knows that they're at least getting some cards, and if you want to use them, cool. And then maybe like at the halfway through the month point, if they have cards left over, then maybe you do a lottery the back half of the month for the slots. Okay, January 1st, every economy member has 15 days to submit 5 cards. And then after the 15th of the month, whatever's left over goes into a lottery queue, for people that want more than whatever slots they handed out. That way, everyone's at least guaranteed something. And they know exactly what they could grade. They know how many silver memberships they have. So there's a math equation they can work out there. I think that would be a little more, I don't want to say fair, but just easier maybe.
Yeah, but what would happen is they would get, unless they cut off the silver membership, there would be a lot more people sign up. So then you're going to talk about the numbers would all then change. As far as their backlog, right now they know how many silver memberships they have, and the silver memberships have a chance. They're not guaranteed anything. And right now that's probably keeping some people away from getting a silver membership, because they I might sign up for a silver membership and I might not get anything out of it. However, if they put a guarantee on it, you're probably going to see a lot more now. From a business standpoint, it would make sense to them as far as getting the membership fees. However, from a business standpoint, if they offered that as a guarantee, now they have a guarantee that they have to live up to that they may not be able to meet. If they got bum rushed with just all kinds of people. And I could see that happening, honestly, where if you guarantee somebody 5 spots a month by having a silver membership, I could see where they would just get overwhelmed with silver memberships.
And that very well could be the case. I mean, they could always try it. If it doesn't work, then they could roll back.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But
every month that we get deeper into this, we're just closer to them having the gates just open anyway.
Right. I think they're getting through their backlog pretty quickly. That's why we're seeing some of these options open up. So,
yeah, they said on they have a new podcast now. PSA has an official podcast. I've listened to most of the first episode. They're doing like one a week or something, but they say in it they have 6.5 million, just over 6 million cards left in the backlog, and at current pacing, they would be done in the late summer. They would be caught up at late summer.
So the names of their services right now are I know Super Express and Express, because all I've used recently. So the $100 charge is what? Is that regular now?
That's regular.
And then the 50 would be economy.
Economy.
Okay, so what are they pumping out their regular orders at? Their $100 orders at, as far as the turnaround time?
What I have heard is about 3 to 4 weeks, but that was before this economy thing got up and rolling. So I don't know if that's going to slow it down a little bit.
But because my last Super Express took what did I say? Like 17 total days. Now that's all days. I know all those aren't business days. So if I was deduct out some days, let's just say I took out 3 days. I could say it took 14 business days to get back my last Express.
So I mean, I'll give you. I have a regular order at PSA right now. I sent what did I send? A Garland Red Scope, first off the line. Spider-Gwen Red PMG. And what was the third card? Oh, the Spider-Man MM0 achievement card. I sent regular, $100 a card. I just refreshed this and it actually moved. I'm excited. They received it on. They entered it into their system on the 7th. It took them a couple days to get it entered in. It's in assembly already.
Okay.
So it's
Mine,
already. It's been researched and ID'd. It's through grading already. It's in assembly, and it just went into assembly this afternoon. I looked at this when I got home from work. It was still in grading. So this just switched today.
My most recent order, the longest stage it sat in was quality check 2. It sat in quality check 2 for 3 days.
I've heard QA2's been slow.
Yeah, so it got through everything, and then QA2 it sat for about 3 days, and then they shipped it. And now, mind you, the 17/14 business days, whatever you want to say it took for me, that is including the shipping. That's not just the time it spent at PSA. That's the time it got. That was pretty much door to door. So
I would
that
love
was
to
me
have this
mailing
order
it
back
them.
for Atlanta.
And I do everything priority mail, so you're talking 3 days max to ship. So, take that for what it's worth with your shipping days on the end. So it was pretty quick. I just remember it sitting in quality, Q2 for, at least 3 days because I was waiting for my orders to pop. As soon as they ship it, your grades pop, and I'm like,
Q2's the worst because you're just refreshing constantly or checking to see if that email came that your grades popped.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love. I don't think I'll get this. I don't need this order back by Atlanta. I would love to have it back for Atlanta, but let's see if it's in assembly now. I guess there's a chance I could have it back. Actually, there's probably a pretty good chance I'd have it back.
I almost sent in. I had
it
5
basically
cards.
needs to ship by the end of next week.
And I had 5 cards ready for Super Express. This was one last week. I had 5 cards ready for Super Express, $300 a card. It's gonna be $1,500 in ship plus shipping. I pulled that order because I was scared, judging by the time it took my Express order, that my Super Express might not. Because I'm gonna say, even though Super Express is Super Express, how much faster can it be than 14 business days door to door?
You're paying more for the declared value on Super Express than anything.
Because I'm looking at the shipping is going to be the same on either end, and that was my thing. Was like PSA might get done with my cards in time, but I've still got to wait for the U.S. Postal Service on both ends of my order. You know what I mean? So you're still looking at about 6 days worth of shipping. So I was like, I don't know if I'll get those back by Atlanta.
I'm gonna hop this real quick. Okay.
And I'm just saying, unless you're looking at declared value, the differential in price, if you're looking for speed, say they're doing Express in 14 days and they're doing Super Express in 10 days. I can't imagine it being much faster than that. You're looking at $300. You're looking at like double the price of your fee for just a couple of days of speed. So yeah, I just decided not to do it. It would only be for, the value of the card.
Yeah, this SGC thing, I did see this today. I saw Peter's statement about this. We don't have to get into it. This is actually my video for tomorrow. So see my video for tomorrow.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know what to
They basically got caught. Not caught. I didn't even hear about it until they came out. Peter from SGC came out and did a statement. They graded 2 fake tops on Pokemon Charizards, which I don't really know what that means, but I know that they're expensive. That's all that I know. But they handled it the best way you possibly could handle something like this, in my opinion. So, but it's literally my video for tomorrow, so I don't want to spend a ton of time on it here.
Yeah, we talked about this last week when we talked about CSG and stuff, with eBay. This stuff's just going to go through the cracks on all of the grading companies. Some of them are just going to have better damage control than others. And some of them have a reputation already. So the ones trying to create a reputation are the ones that have the most to lose. The ones who have a reputation are going to it's just going to happen. Whether it's PSA, BGS, SGC, it doesn't matter. The fact that they already have a reputation kind of helps them stay reputable as opposed to somebody trying to build a reputation.
Yeah. There was something else I wanted to get to.
People just got to understand that it's going to happen.
Yeah, which is what Peter actually says in the video.
Yeah. Oh, and
it's only 2 minutes long. It's worth watching. They did it. They handled it the best way you possibly can handle something like this, in my opinion. Are you looking for anything in particular in Atlanta? Do you have a want list, or is it more? I guess let me change this or be more specific. On the buying side, is there something in particular that you are looking for? Obviously, I know you're wanting to sell. because you're bringing a lot of stuff with you. Is there anything in particular that you're like, yeah,
players? There's players I want. Not any specific card other than low serial numbered and color match stuff. But there's certain players that I'm already shopping on those types of cards. And it's mostly modern basketball. It's mostly modern basketball. Well, everybody knows I'm always looking for Jason Tatum stuff.
I'm just saying this might be in your showcase, Steve.
There's like two other
might be laid out at your table.
There's like two other modern NBA players that I'm really looking at. I have offers in right now. You might have heard my phone buzz a second ago. That was actually somebody countering me on my slabs for an offer that I have in.
Oh.
I saw their counter. I don't know if I like it because this guy he's not a super gamble. He's not a super reach. He is volatile though. And then, so there's 3 modern NBA players, and I'm definitely going to look for some football. A lot of the stuff, I'm going to be surprised because from what I understand, the first time being a dealer here, people are going to be bringing stuff to me. I may not even have to hit the show floor that much, which I'm going to want to, but I may have some crazy stuff come to me that I get good deals on. There's certain things certain players I'm specifically targeting. There's other things that I will buy based on the deal. And then, I have to get my hands on some football because I got to have football going to the National. That's my thought. I'm going to have a couple nice football cards going to the National. So I'd rather buy my football now and hold it till July. And there's some basketball cards that are just too cheap. There's some players out there that nice cards are too cheap. Now, I talked about this in my live stream today, and it's difficult because some cards that I wanted to buy that are comping at around $50 on average. I've seen them go for $38. I've seen them go for $55. So I'm saying these cards are comping between $45 and $50. There was some on eBay, the exact same card. There's no auctions, but there's buy it now best offers at $125, and I offered in on 2 of those at $75, which is well above the comps. And these comps are recent. I mean, like these comps are February comps. And the people, the best counter offer I got from one of them was 90, and I'm like, I can't pay 90. I can't pay double recent comp. And I know people want to say, well, comp this, comp that, comp this. I don't sell to comps, but when it's an ultra modern basketball card and they sell regularly, if you want to sell your card, you are going to have to come closer. I mean, I was offering nearly double comp, and they're trying to hit me over the head with, I was offering 75 on a $45 card, and they're trying to get me to give them 90. I can't do that. And I understand that at one point this card was 150. This was a $150 to $200 card preseason, but it's not that now. So I understand people cutting losses and not wanting to take big losses, but they're going to be stuck with those cards unless they turn around. And again, I'm a person that believes in these cards, and maybe they believe them the same way I do. I got to mute my mic for a second because my dog.
Yeah, you're good. Christopher, I don't know of any formal Marvel meetups. I'm sure there'll be something. The best place to probably, I would post something in the MCCW Facebook group, or there's another big Marvel Facebook group. I would post in there. I know there's going to be a lot of people there from the Marvel community, but I don't know of a formal dinner / meetup / hangout. Usually what happens is everyone goes off into their own little corners for dinner, and then everyone kind of meets up at the various trade nights is typically how these things flush out. Merle World, what is going on, buddy? I will be seeing you in Atlanta in a couple weeks. Let's see what's going on in chat here.
All right, should be good for a couple minutes.
Thoughts on Marvel anime stacks? They're cool looking. They're weird, though, because you have to have all 3 cards together. I heard you say today in your live stream you're on to the next Marvel bandwagon already. You cracked the code already.
Who's that, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that.
There's a lot of stuff out there that's untapped. There really is.
Yeah, I know.
It's just whether or not it actually catches. Like I did really well on those gold webs. I sold both of them already.
All right, I'll be right back in a sec.
Yeah, you're good.
Is it just on you?
You're not muted, Steve.
Back and forth to the bathroom.
Just FYI.
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay, I just want to make sure you knew. I don't want the internet to hear you getting yelled at by your wife. Steve's in trouble. Look at him. He's in trouble. He's shaking his head no, but we all know. We all know he's in trouble.
No, she just got home from work. She knew I was going to be live streaming. She just didn't want to make too much noise.
I told my wife was joking. She said I need to get an on-air sign for the top of the steps that like lights up when I'm live streaming.
Yeah, the dog goes wild when she comes home, and then she just went.
Swaggle House up in the chat. Still waiting on value. Marvel cards sent February 2021. I would assume you'd be getting those back pretty soon, Swaggle. Swaggle, very good, very, very good comic book content creator. I think, Swaggle, didn't you just hit 10K subs? Or are you about to hit 10K subs, I believe? Is that true? I'm pretty sure you just hit 10K, right, buddy? Did a really fun comic book roundtable with him and a bunch of people. I'm so far behind on chat. Holy smokes.
I know, that's what happens.
Let's swing it over for some NBA. Well, I guess let's just start with the Harden trade.
Okay.
Does anyone get a bump price-wise?
I don't think so. Now, not anything to be significant, I'm going to say. You may see very small, a 5%, maybe a 10%. We went through this with James Harden, was it last year? When he got traded to the Nets, his stuff blew up that day. We're going to go through it again with the trade to the Sixers. I don't know. He's still James Harden, right? What changes about him other than scenery and the fact that he may win a title? But if he wins a title with the Sixers, you know, everybody thought he was going to win a title with the Nets. So they started paying crazy money for his cards. Is this team better than the team he went to last year? Now, I'm not talking about this year's Nets, but the team that the reason why everybody was buying him last year is because he went to the Nets. They were the favorite. That team wasn't the team everybody thought they were going to be. Do they now go through the same cycle now that he's going to the Sixers? And then Ben Simmons, I believe a lot of people just lost all hope in him. Now, his stuff is so cheap that he may see a bump just based on the fact that his cards are cheap. But is he a dynamic player to the point to where you want to buy his cards because he's going to build a legacy down the line to where he has championships and he's an MVP and things like that? Or is he just another good player on a team with better players? So from that trade, you know, Harden's the better player. If you're going to put money into somebody, especially if you're thinking long-term, it's going to be Harden. But Harden has to add more to his resume. We know he can score the ball. That's Embiid's team. If anybody gets a bump, it's Embiid. You know, I don't think the guys that are the actual pieces of the trade will be affected as much as the people on the team that they got traded to. So I would say Embiid might see the biggest bump out of all of people involved in the grand scheme. And I would say that Tyrese Maxey might see a little bit of a drop off.
Yeah, I could see him not. He's not going to put up the numbers with Harden there. I mean, he's still going to be a really good player, and he still is a really good player. But he's not going to get the usage with Harden there. Harden's going to
it kind of pushes him out of the picture. And he was really exciting, good young player. He was scoring the ball, and it kind of pushes him. You know, it kind of pushes him to the wayside for now, to the back burner, where he was filling in for Simmons, and all of a sudden he went from being the backup and filling in for Simmons and being boom, this guy out playing in front of everyone. Now he kind of slides back to the back burner. He's the one person nobody's ever even talked about because everybody wants to talk about is Harden already, and he's not even got a Sixers jersey on yet.
Yeah, I do think Embiid is probably the best bet to get a rise out of this. I think Simmons could, but I don't know that we're going to see Simmons on the court actually anytime soon. I think he's still got stuff to work through. I don't think he's just magically back tomorrow. Merles has a question here. Do you know the difference between regular base and 2017, the metal versus the pattern? Yes, I would show you because I have a pattern in this box, but it's already all sealed up. The silver base are literally just straight silver. The pattern have a holographic effect to them is the easiest way to describe it. And the pattern are, so those are the achievement ones. I think most people say the estimated print run on those is about 100 to 150. So they're actually more rare than the bronze.
And it's called pattern. It's called pattern, but let's just call it what it is. It's basically a refractor or a silver.
Yeah, they're nice looking. I got a Spider Gwen one.
Yeah, if you're looking for a pattern, you're not going to find a pattern. It's basically just a holographic finish.
Swag with a question: do you feel Marvel cards move in tandem with MCU properties? We have not seen that yet. At least I haven't, not meaningfully anyway. I'm sure some stuff is a little more buzzy than others. Like, I think it might add an extra layer of liquidity. I don't know if it's going to cause prices to spike like it does on the comic book side. Do you have any thoughts on that, Steve?
Yeah, actually, because it has on some Moon Knight cards shot up.
But did they shoot up because everything shot up, or did they shoot up, do you think? You know what I mean? It's a weird time.
No, because I think they passed.
Because literally, if it says Marvel on the front of it, it's jumped 30% in the last month, or...
Well, yeah, because the market as a whole has jumped, but then you can say in comparison to other characters, okay? So I'm still trying to determine in the Marvel card world who was an A character, who was a B character, who was a C character. Just like you would in basketball, who's your superstars, who's your role players, this, that, and the other. And just because somebody has a television series or a movie doesn't always translate to, okay, they're an A character now. Case in point, Hawkeye. And the reason I bring up Hawkeye is because I just have a card in front of me and because he just had a television series, right? So, but just because he had a television series that everybody really watched doesn't all of a sudden thrust him into like an A category type character, which can be kind of confusing if you're crossing into Marvel because that's what you hear and you see on television. So you got to be like, oh, wow, Hawkeye's got to be worth money. But I will say that what I noticed by comparing characters is that before the Marvel cards really boomed, you were able to buy like Daredevil and Moon Knight for about the same price. Now both of their cards have boomed with the market. However, Moon Knight has also seen an additional cap on his stuff because the trailer dropped. And I only realized that because I was trading a Daredevil card for a Moon Knight card straight up with someone. And the value of the Moon Knight shot up over the value of the Daredevil. And at one time they were equivalent, right? So the only thing I can translate that to would be the trailer of the movie. And it's going to be like a season where once the television series is over, the hype around that character will die down. Like the end of the football season, the quarterbacks is going to die down. The end of the basketball season, those guys are going to die down. The series comes around again, or they're in another movie or somewhere else. Scarlet Witch, her items, comic book world, were huge when her show was out. Everybody was buying, selling Scarlet Witch and Vision items, comic books. Then we see her, and then the stuff dies off. And then we see her in the trailer for Multiverse of Madness, and she's popular again in comic books, but that's also translated to cards. It's really translated for Doctor Strange because of his appearance in Spider-Man, as well as everybody knows he has a movie coming. So, yes, I've seen it translate to some, but not the same way, but it doesn't affect everybody, if that makes sense. Like it affected Doctor Strange and Moon Knight a lot more than it affected like a character like Hawkeye. So maybe it's not always going to be equal.
I think worst case scenario, it's going to make the character more liquid at minimum. And then maybe they get some sort of bump off of it, depending on whatever the situation is. But if anything else, it'll make it easier to sell a particular character. If you have some niche character that is, whatever, and then all of a sudden they're in something, it might not give it like a 50% boost in value, but it might make it a lot easier to sell for your asking price. Interesting question from Toy Story, Cards and Collectibles. I'm a big color match guy too. What do you think happens with color match doesn't matter after a guy gets traded. I'll take this one first, and I'll throw it over to you. Hollows and silvers one are always going to be good. Like hollows and silvers are always going to be the baseline. Color match, personally, I don't think it would affect much if they got dealt because it's still going to be the most aesthetically pleasing card. Like the reason people like color match is because it usually matches the jersey and it looks really good. Even if the player's still not on that team anymore, that doesn't affect how the card looks because Tatum's in a green Celtics jersey on his mosaic green color match or his green prism. So the card looks fantastic because of that. If he gets traded, he's still in a green jersey on the card. So the card still looks really good.
Can we stop talking about Tatum being traded? It's not going to happen.
So that's my take on it. Do you have anything different on that?
And yeah, honestly, you pretty much kind of hit that on the head because one of the players that I got offers in on is a player that I think is going to be moved. That might give you a hint to who one of the players is that I'm buying. I just don't want to come out and say it because I could be completely wrong on. I don't want people buying cards based on my opinion. But I think that this player could be moved, but I don't think it'll affect his cards because, again, color match is all about aesthetics. People are buying color match because of aesthetics, regardless of what jersey they're in. That's a nice Colin Sexton card you got there.
Yeah, it's a color match too.
It's kind of a color match.
Yeah.
Back really quickly to the Marvel thing we were talking about with, I had this question come up because I buy Doctor Strange cards regularly. If there was one guy that I was going to PC cards, it would be Doctor Strange because I like his comics and PC his comics. I have a 2013. I have two of these right now. This is the 2013 PMG. So the 2013s we both know first year they kind of draw the premiums. The 2015s are pretty good. 2017 is really becoming hotter to an extent. But for some reason, and I'm not talking about the color difference, even if this was in a red. For some reason, I had this question. On this character alone, for some reason, the 2015 outsells the 2013. Now, that's not across the board on all characters. 95% of the time, the 2013 sells more. And what somebody told me was because he did this pose in the movie, which he did. He did this pose in the Spider-Man movie. And now people like this card because of that artwork / pose.
He did that one in Infinity War too when he was looking into the future.
Yeah. But that's the pose that people see him striking up in the movies as opposed to this thing where he looks like he's going to shoot laser beams out of his hands. People look at this, the illusion of the arms, and that's kind of become his iconic pose. And so people tend to buy that 2015 ahead of the 2013, and that's one of the only characters that it applies to.
Yeah, I think it's just the image. I think it's the aesthetics of it. That stuff does matter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at how low Wolverine PMGs sell for because most of the pictures suck. You know what I mean? His 2013's real good, but like his other ones are real bad. Like he looks like a lumberjack, and the other one's not even like Wolverine, Old Man Logan. You know what I mean?
I like the 2017 because he's wearing a flannel shirt. I like the flannel shirt. It reminds me of grunge rock.
Did you have time to process the Mavericks trade? That's the one that baffled me the most. Porzingis to the Wizards.
Porzingis to the Wizards. What did they get in return?
Davis Bertans and Spencer Dinwiddie. I mean, I guess it's a play on money, but I don't think that they're a better team today than tomorrow.
I don't think
they're rumored they are the most likely destination for Goran Dragic on a buyout.
Do I think that makes sense for the Wizards? Probably.
Yeah, I get it from the Wizards' perspective. They take a shot on Porzingis.
Yeah, for the Mavericks, the Mavericks are the big disappointment again. It's 2 years in a row. Talked about this today. It's kind of becoming a theme for them. Free agents out there or trades to be had, whether it's preseason or trade deadline, they're just not making any moves to make that team any better. I think they stuck with Porzingis in hopes that he would come around. and I talked about him today being a contributor. Has he underachieved? Yes, but he still has contributed. Okay, it's not like he's underachieved and only got like 8 points a game. He still has been a decent contributor for that team, maybe just not playing up to what they're paying him or expectation. But do you make yourself better with a Spencer Dinwiddie? I don't think so, because he's going to play in the backcourt. You make yourself softer in the middle. Now that's, Porzingis is kind of soft for a big man anyway, but you kind of take out any threat that you have on the inside. I also think that they had some younger guys like, Jalen Brunson and stuff that can score from the backcourt. So to me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for Dallas unless it is to just free up money. What do the Wizards do now? I mean, Beal was having season-ending wrist surgery or something.
Yeah, I mean, the Wizards are toast. That was just more a money play.
And they played well in the beginning of the year, but Kuzma kind of ran out of steam. Roy Hachimura never showed up, and I mean, literally never showed up.
That was your boy.
Well, I mean, he just never showed up, and I don't mean he didn't show up as in he got on the court and didn't perform.
What was the deal? Did he get hurt, or did he just not want to play? Like,
it just said personal issues. He went to Japan, he went to Japan for the Olympics, and then after the Olympics were over, he never came back. He just was like,
went home because he's from Japan, right?
It was like he, personal issues reported by the team. He'll be missing some time, and it just kind of got swept.
Back on the team now? I thought he was back with the team, reconditioning.
I'm not sure. They never cut him from the roster. He's always been on the roster, and every night
because he's got upside. But
well, I mean, even every night when you look at the inactives, he's on the list as inactives. So it's like he hasn't even has a spot on the roster. It's not even like he's D-Leagued or anything. It's like, I don't know what it is. We've seen him play well. He even played well in the Olympics. He had a good Olympics, but I don't know what happened with that there.
Yeah, that was a weird. I know that you were big on him in the preseason, that you had a decent amount of his stuff.
I had a couple. I've sold some of his stuff at consignment and done okay. And I sold a good card of his preseason at that first Philly show when I sold on my Michael Porter Juniors. I sold a really nice Roy card and got good for it. So I got out of the hole on him, but I'm still holding 2 cards of his. But he's the type of player where I would rather for him to not be playing at all than be playing and be a 5-point a game guy. So at least you still know there's some sort of hope for him if he is going to play. I just liked his international appeal, and he played well in the Olympics, and I think that market is still there if he comes back to play in the NBA.
Yeah. Is there any other trade that really stood out to you today, or just in trade season period?
Yeah, what's in the Sacramento got Sabonis.
The Halliburton deal. Yeah. I don't really know what they were thinking there.
I do. I understand that trade. They had a lot in the backcourt, because I touched on this today. Buddy Hield, Halliburton, De'Aaron Fox. And De'Aaron Fox is not old, even though he's been in the league since 17. He's still super young. So they had a lot of guys in the backcourt. And I think the reason why they were drafting guys and getting more guys for the backcourt was because they weren't sure if Fox was going to be their guy. I wasn't, maybe he wasn't the guy for their system. Maybe he wasn't going to develop. I'm not sure whatever their thought was, but I believe their thought process was they were going to draft or acquire backcourt players. That way, if they ever needed to move De'Aaron Fox because he wasn't going to be their guy, they would have that option. I think they came to the decision that he's going to be our guy, and now we need a complementary player. So what do we need? We need a bigger guy who can score inside, who can rebound the ball, a double-double machine, and that's what they did. They went out and they got a really good basketball player now. Sabonis is not the type of guy that I would go buy his cards, because I don't know where the hobby appeal is at, because he's boring, okay? I mean that in the nicest way. He's a great player, but he's not very exciting. But I just believe that was a decision that they made. De'Aaron Fox is going to be our guy going forward. We're backcourt heavy. We need to trade some of this backcourt heaviness for a complementary player, because if we want to win with De'Aaron Fox, it's going to have to be now. It's going to have to be soon.
I just think that was the mistake. I think they should have moved Fox and kept Halliburton.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not saying I understand why they kept Fox over Halliburton. I'm just saying, thinking from their stance was, okay, they chose Fox for whatever reason they chose him for. They decided to go with Fox, which made Halliburton, expendable. They could have went with Halliburton, which would have then made Fox expendable. Just either way, if you swap players around, that's why I see this trade being made.
I think someone mentioned the Celtics here. I think the most, not the Daniel Tice deal, but I think the Celtics actually had the most under the radar pickup with Derek White. I really like Derek White. He's not like run out and buy Derek White cards. He's not, but I'm just talking like from an actual NBA perspective. I think he's going to really help that team a lot. I don't know that he's going to like boost them to the 1 seed or anything crazy like that, or chase down your world class Cleveland Cavaliers. But I really like that move for them. They needed a point guard upgrade, and he gives them that.
So what are we in Boston? I get the years so mixed up because of COVID, but are we 2 seasons removed from the Eastern Conference Finals?
I think so.
Because we lost to the Heat, and then the Heat went and lost to the Lakers.
Yeah.
And then last season, it was the Bucks. So yeah, we're 2020. We're 2 seasons removed from the Eastern Conference Finals, and what piece are we really missing from that team was only Kemba Walker, who was inconsistent and missed a lot of time. We still have Tatum and Brown that we're building around. Tice was part of that team because he's a great role player, good defender. He'll rough it up with people. He'll fight for rebounds. He'll do all the dirty work that nobody likes to do. He's a Steven Adams type player. Every team needs a player like that. So yes, I'm not against him returning. Dennis Schrader is a bit of a shooter. I don't know if we need that.
He's gone. They traded him.
Okay, good. Ben Simmons would have been the better fit for us from a defensive standpoint. The Celtics have won some games lately, so we'll see what happens. They won 6 in a row? I'm not sure.
They have won 6 in a row.
So
the battle for the 6th seed is going to be crazy, because right now it's basically them and the Raptors, and the Raptors also loaded up at the trade deadline.
I would rather have momentum late than have it early. So from the Celtics standpoint, they started the season off terrible, but they're still in playoff contention and they have momentum late. I would rather be playing great basketball at the end of the season if I'm in playoff contention than getting a hot start to the season and then falling apart.
Someone said Ja is shredding tonight. What's he doing? Well, they're playing the Pistons, so that like hardly counts.
Yeah, somebody asked me today about who went to the Pistons. Marvin Bagley, and I'm like, I don't think it changes anything for Bagley or for the Pistons.
I had a PSA 10 silver Bagley I sold like a year and a half ago for like $500.
He had big hoops.
I'm excited for Saturday night. The Cavs play the 76ers, and that'll probably be the first time we see the 76ers with Harden. And that's actually a pretty big game for seeding purposes in the East.
You guys are going to get smoked, man.
We'll see.
I'm just kidding. Hey, I did a stat comparison today, and I looked at 2 players, and one of them is averaging 20 points a game, slightly above. The other one's averaging 20 points a game, but slightly below the other guy. It's like 20 point something. The other guy's like got 20 point something. The other one's averaging like 6 or 7 rebounds, and the other one's averaging like 3 rebounds, and then the other one's averaging like 4 assists, where the other one's averaging 8 assists. So the one player has got more assists, the other one's got more rebounds, and they're neck and neck for points per game. That'll be Darius Garland and Tyler Hero.
Except one of them's good and one of them's not. No.
Yeah. One of them starting and one of them comes off the bench and is still averaging 20 points a game.
What's his prices these days? I haven't looked at a Tyler Hero chart in so long.
I'm going to be honest, when I was talking about guys that I was looking to pick up a couple cards earlier today, and some are gambles and some aren't.
I mean, you're always looking at the Hero.
I'm looking to come back in on a Hero card or two. Now, I have sold every single. I don't own a Tyler Hero now. He was one player that did really well for me because he got off so hot, like 30 points. Really, even in the preseason, he was torching the preseason. I had to sell. It wouldn't make no sense to hold. Now the market has kind of leveled off for everyone, and I feel like it's time to start taking your stabs again. So, what if the Heat make a deep playoff run and he's all over?
They're poised for a deep playoff run. Now we kind of have the full picture of what the Eastern Conference looks like after the trade deadline today. And, I don't think the Nets are a serious contender. Irving can only play half the games. KD's still out for 3 or 4 more weeks. And we don't know what Ben Simmons is. Like, we don't know when he's going to come back, and we don't know what he's going to look like when he comes back. So, in my opinion, the Nets are not a title contender this year. It's the Heat, the Bucks, and the 76ers as your top 3 title contenders in the East. And then it's probably the Bulls, the Cavs, and then it's probably the Raptors and the Celtics, and then kind of like that, throw in the Nets, the Hornets, and the Hawks in there. And then after that, it drops way off. Those are your 10 teams. The 10 teams that are going to make the play-in and up are pretty much locked in. I don't see that changing because the teams that are out are the Wizards. They're not going to make it up. The Knicks suck. The Pacers suck. The Magic suck. And the Pistons suck. Those 5 teams are out. The other 10 teams are in. We know who they are. It's just a matter of what order that they finish in.
And as soon as I mentioned Tyler Hero's name, I had to skip over to the comments because I knew Tyler Hero comments would be coming in hot and heavy, whether positive or. And Bradley
is one of those guys. The people that love him, and the people that hate him.
Bradley's always been Tyler Hero is a 0 on my live streams. And then some people are like, I would love Tyler Hero if his cards went up. I mean, that's the case for anybody. I would love any player if I had their cards and they went up. But you got to look at the guys that have potential of going up. Because Hero spiked and has come back down, but it wasn't his play that caused him to come back down. It was his play that caused him to spike. Then the market caused him to come back down. And his play's been consistent. And I laughed at the beginning of the season when I did my fun little list of predictions, and I said Tyler Hero would average 18 points per game and win the 6th man. Well, I'm well on my way to the first part of that being correct. Now, will he win the 6th man? I don't know, but he looks like he's going to average over 18.
Yeah. If I was Dakota, I'd be sweating that Cavs bet a little bit. I think they might win at least a round, then anything can happen.
How much is that again?
He'll give away $1,000 in cards if the Cavs make the Eastern Conference Finals.
He's going to give away $1,000 in NFL football inserts, 90s football inserts.
So you're getting $1,500 box inserts, basically. But I mean, they got a decent shot at being a 4 or a 5 seed, and then it just kind of depends on who they get matched up with in the first round. And then, kind of anything could happen at that point. I like the LeVert deal. I haven't really talked about that tonight, but I don't know anything. But the only question on the LeVert deal is if they end up having to re-sign him long term, and what does that do to the books? And I personally think they're going to keep Sexton. I think Sexton is the perfect 6th man off a bench. So if you're starting Garland, LeVert, Okoro, Mobley, Allen, and then bringing Sexton, Markkanen, and Love off the bench, I think that's fine. Like next year, I don't think they let Sexton go because I think they'll at least want him as the asset.
Well, the reason that won't work is, I don't know how much time he has left on his contract, but he's going to want more money than a 6th man.
Sexton's restricted, so he can't go anywhere unless the Cavs want him to go somewhere.
And, he could pull a holdout or something like that. I don't see Sexton being wanting to be the 6th man. He probably is the type of player that thinks he's the best player on the team. And I think that's 3/4 of the NBA, but. And he probably, honestly, he probably wouldn't be wrong. Garland's great. He probably was the best scorer on the team, though. In that system, I don't know. That's a more team-oriented system, and that they're running now, and Sexton's really ball dominant. I think they bring in LeVert. It makes sense to bring in LeVert this year because you do need somebody else in the backcourt. But then if they decide to keep all 3, now you're really backcourt heavy. Do you let LeVert go, re-sign Sexton? Do you re-sign LeVert?
Well, LeVert's under contract for next year.
But where is your trade value? I don't think they're going to want to hold Sexton for a year and risk of getting nothing out of him on a contract expiration. if you have 5 teams knocking on your door for Colin Sexton, why are you going to hold him for a year to only lose him to free agency, right? And get nothing out of it. So, yeah, they're saying they want to keep Sexton, but of course that's what they're going to want to say because they're going to want to draw the most that they can get out of a team. And by playing hardball, if you're saying, hey, I don't want this guy, we want to trade him, we want to move him, all of a sudden it makes other teams want to give you less because they know how bad you want to get rid of him. You're going to go into negotiations saying, hey, he's on the trade block, but we really don't want to get rid of this guy because you're trying to get the most that you can get out of a player. To me, it just wouldn't make sense if you weren't going to sign him long-term to let his rookie contract expire and get nothing for him. That would be bad.
They could sign and trade him if they want to, but I think they keep him because I don't think he's going to have there's not that many teams that have cap room this season or this offseason.
But if they sign and trade him, then though, they got to find a team that's willing to take on his contract that they negotiate with him.
Well, as opposed to with a new team, but
yeah, but another team would rather have a player and directly negotiate their contract with that player as opposed to taking on a contract that another team negotiated for him.
Well, that would be negotiated as part of the sign and trade. He'd be negotiating with the new team directly as part of the sign and trade.
I just feel like it would be mismanagement by the GM or whoever for the Cavs if they were to not move him this season.
Well, the trade deadline's over. You can't move him now.
I mean after this season.
Well, then that would have to be a sign and trade because he's a restricted free agent.
Yeah. I just think that they would move him at their rookie contract and a trade.
I mean, if they trade him now, it has to be a sign and trade because of the way the NBA offseason stuff works.
Then they've already mismanaged it.
I completely disagree.
You do?
I don't think they're going to let him go. I think they're going to keep him if the contract is right. You need a guy like that, whether it's him or LeVert coming off the bench. You need someone like that to run the second unit.
But do you think he's more valuable to the team as a sixth man than what they could potentially get for him in a trade?
Yeah, because what do they need?
You're the Cavs fan. Tell me.
They need someone like him coming off the bench to run the second unit. So I don't know why you would trade that away. You have Allen and Mobley already, so your front court's set. You could use a wing. Isaac Okoro is the weakest link. The 3 is the weakest link on the team. But if that's your weakest link on the team and he's a defensive specialist, I'm fine with that. Not every guy in the starting needs to average 25 points a game. So if you're telling me your starting lineup is Garland, either LeVert or Sexton, and the other one's coming off the bench, and then Okoro at the 3 and Mobley and Allen, I am done. Sign me up.
No, it makes more sense if you're going to start Sexton. He's going to be a disgruntled player coming off the bench. That's what I'm saying.
Then that's fine. Sign him and start him and have LeVert come off the bench. LeVert only has 1 year left on his deal.
What I'm saying is your scenario works and plays out great, considering Sexton is willing to accept that role on the team. What I'm saying is I don't think he is happily going to accept a sixth-man role on any team. So then you have chemistry issues, you have locker room issues, you have management issues. On a team like the Cavs, who's a young team that you're trying to build, is that what you want? You got to look at the whole bigger picture, not just what a person brings to the table as far as what they can score for you every night. Because Kevin Porter Jr. would still be there if that was the case.
Wow. I mean, that's a whole different situation.
Well, but I mean, he wasn't moved because they didn't think he was talented. He was moved because he was locker room issues.
Yeah, I mean, that dude was 100% head case. Sexton's not a head case.
Well, he's gotten what he's wanted up to this point, too.
I mean, there's not getting what you want, and there's literally throwing a temper tantrum and throwing things at the GM's head in the locker room, which is what Porter
You're
did.
talking about a team. This is this guy's team. I mean, last year, 2019 or 2020, 2021, there was no doubt the Cavs were Colin Sexton's team. If you ask anybody who is the superstar, who is the best player, who is the team the Cavs are building around, I'm pretty sure 99% of the people out there are going to say Colin Sexton. I'm sure Colin Sexton is going to say Colin Sexton. I'm sure the coaches are going to say Colin Sexton. In a season where he gets injured, is he going to be willing to come back and be the sixth man on a team that was his? That's all I'm saying. Ask yourself
you don't have a choice if no one signs him in free agency.
when you put a player into a situation where you back them into the corner and say you don't have a choice, do you think they're going to want to go out there and dedicate themselves to you?
Like I said, he might not have other options.
I get that you're a Cavs fan and you want it to all work out perfect, but to be honest, I mean, these are professional NBA players with egos and stuff that we're talking about. So, it's not like you're asking him to be a Daniel Tice, like I talked about earlier, or Steven Adams, a guy who's just willing to go out there and do what he needs to do for his team to win. That's like saying, that's like taking Terrell Owens and be like, okay, Terrell Owens, you're going to play on third downs only, when he was in the prime of his career. Because right now, Colin Sexton's in the prime of his career. So if you're in the NFL and Terrell Owens is in the prime of his career, you're saying, okay, you're only going in on 4 wide receiver sets. Is that going to sit well with Terrell Owens?
I mean, does Colin Sexton want to win a championship, or does he want to average 30 a game and win 20 games a year?
Well, that's if a championship is realistic.
I mean,
that's not a guarantee. 25 to 30 points a game can be a guarantee, because I'm a firm believer that the stars always get their numbers. I always draft that way in fantasy. Whether they have a hot start and a slow finish, or a slow start and a hot finish, or they're just consistent all year, stars always get their numbers across all sports. Look at the back of a sports card and look at the stats going down from when they start to when they finish. It's pretty much consistent. Stars always get their numbers, barring injury or something like that. Stars get their numbers. Do stars always get titles? They don't. Titles are elusive. One team can win every year. You can have a bunch of all-stars, but one team can win every year. So how realistic does the plate look? This dinner plate of this is what we're putting together to win a championship going to look to someone like Colin Sexton when you say, okay, you can be the 6th man because we're going to win a title. He's going to be like, you're not winning a title without me being the starter.
I mean, he doesn't have to be the 6th man. LeVert could come off the bench.
Yeah, and that could work too. But
I'm just saying one of those guys would be your 6th man. I mean, I guess you could go small in the back and start LeVert at the 3 if you wanted to.
I honestly don't think they keep both. That's just where I'm going to stand. Whether it's next season or 2 years from now, whenever the contracts are up or whatever. I think Garland's their guy. He established that this year. He runs the kind of offense that they want to run, where everybody chips in. It's a lot like a Miami Heat offense, where you don't have one guy blowing up every night, but you have everybody contributing, really good. Plays good defense, better defense than Colin Sexton. He's a better distributor than Colin Sexton. So you want to build around Garland. This time last year, it wasn't built around Garland, it's built around Sexton.
But Sexton's a 2, not a 1. I mean, Sexton's a shooting guard now, not a point guard.
Yeah, but these guys have played together, right? And when they played together, did they excel the way that they're playing without him?
I mean, the beginning of this year before Sexton got hurt, yes. But then, that was a small sample size.
Yeah, it was very small. But, I mean, they even played together like some last year, right?
Yeah, but Garland wasn't Garland last year. It was a different version. You weren't getting this version. Like, Garland has turned into a different player this year.
Yes, because he's been presented that opportunity because Sexton's not there.
Yeah, well, to real Brett's point, Sexton wants to get paid. Here's the problem. There's 5 teams that have cap space that could pay him. The only one that is remotely legitimate is probably the Pistons. So if Sexton wants to take a max offer from the Pistons to go score 30 a game and lose 40 games, then he could do that. I still actually think the Cavs would potentially match just to have the asset, because that's part of this too. They could match the contract because they don't want to just have the player walk for nothing. So they would rather just have the contract on the books to move it later for something else than losing him for nothing. But the Pistons are the only real threat to sign him away, in my opinion, at least for money that they wouldn't just immediately match. And don't forget, you're talking about a guy coming off of missing the entire season with a knee injury. So how many teams are going to want to throw max money at that?
I don't know about max money, but I know that I read today that there's at least 5 teams inquiring.
Well, inquiring on a trade and inquiring to just straight sign him are 2 different things.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if the Cavs can really get a good offer out of it, why wouldn't they take it?
Because I don't think they can get an actual good offer for him that makes their team that much better than just keeping him.
I mean, what if you get a decent player and like 2 draft picks like good draft picks, or you get a
I don't
really
think
good player.
you're not getting 2 first-round picks for Colin Sexton. You're way overvaluing Colin Sexton. If you're thinking you're getting a good player and 2 first-round picks for him,
Well, I mean, when I mean a good player, I mean like I don't mean like necessarily a super duper star. What I'm saying is a player like a okay that you guys acquired Karis LeVert, a player like a Karis LeVert with some picks.
Colin Sexton is a better version of, which someone said this in chat, and I've said this since day one. Colin Sexton is a fancier version of Lou Williams.
Okay, I mean, whatever somebody's perception, everybody's going to perceive him differently. But there's 5 teams in the NBA that are pursuing him. If they're pursuing him, they're probably perceiving him a lot different than the other 25 plus teams that aren't pursuing him. For the same reason we buy cards of people, because we perceive them differently. We perceive their value differently.
I mean, McCracken says here, Sexton wasn't even closing games this year when he was healthy. It was Garland and Rubio. And he was fine with it.
Well, was he? Only he knows that, truthfully.
I mean, everyone said that he was fitting in and had a different mentality this year. Because winning changes a lot of that stuff. Sexton is jamming Harden stat-wise on his own team. Are you? Whoa, put down whatever you're smoking, Mark. Holy smoke!
What was the game last year? The Nets. It was the Nets and the
Nets
Cavs.
game.
That game.
Nets game. I made a lot of money off Colin Sexton that night.
Right, and you look at that Colin Sexton, and you tell me that there's not a lot of NBA teams that would be interested in him.
But that was the only. I mean, that was like the only night of the year that he did that, though.
But I'm saying, and you look at that Colin, say, yeah, but we've seen the potential. You look at that Colin Sexton, and you say he wants to be a 6th man.
You keep getting hung up on the 6th man thing. I mean, he could easily
Maybe
be
he'll be
the
the 5th man. I get that. I mean, he could start over LeVert too. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But you brought up
now
the 6th man.
If he's starting, he's the number 2 on the team. Like that's his role. You know, Garland's going to be your 1, not from a scoring perspective, because that's not Garland's game.
Right.
Garland is a pass.
No,
Garland is a true point guard.
If Sexton starts, which he should, he'll lead the team in scoring. And that makes sense. If they want to keep him and have them be the shooting guard and be, what the team goes through as far as their scoring output, that makes sense to keep him. I get that. It doesn't make sense to put him on the bench.
You know, Rav says Sexton's an alpha. That's fine. If Sexton is your number 1 option on your team, you are a lottery team. Trust me, I've watched a lot of Colin Sexton.
But he's young. I mean, he's only been in the league since 2018. He's really young. I mean, we're talking about
he's off his rookie contract now. He's 4 years in.
We're talking like this guy's reached his max potential. He's 23.
Brett, the backcourt defense doesn't matter when you have Allen and Mobley in the front court.
I'm over here laughing, guys, because Chad, you see how we can get going with the Cavs when we start talking about Neo's Cavs, and the whole live stream will turn into a debate over the
Cavs all night. I will talk Cavs all night. I have no problems with that. We can get into some Garland or Trae Young takes if you want to head down that path.
I think they can coexist. I do believe they can coexist. I don't believe Colin Sexton type of player that's down for being a 6th man. That's all I'm saying. And I know you're saying I'm getting hung up on that, but the only reason I'm hung up on that is, I mean, you brought that up. 6th man never.
I just think like if you're taking him, that's like his perfect role, whether he wants it or not. Like that is his perfect NBA role as a 6th man on a championship team. That like is his 100% perfect role. Whether he wants to be there mentally, I'm just saying to take him as that mold of a player. If you just took him and dropped him in the NBA 2K, that is his perfect role.
This is a hard question, and I'm not even really sure. But who would you compare he's too young. But who would you compare his current NBA game to? If you had to compare it to a star player. Let's not talk about Lou Williams 2.0, because to me that if you make anybody a 2.0, they're twice as good the player that they are, which means if you're making an NBA player twice as good as he already is, he's going to be a damn good player.
Oh, current star player in the NBA. Who would he comp to? can't think of a good one
It's
directly.
hard, right? I'm here trying to think of it too. And somebody
He's just
said,
he's an empty stats 25 a night guy.
yes, yes, he's a scorer, and he doesn't offer much else. No, not much defense. Not a whole lot else. He will create opportunity for others because you got to guard him. But yes, you're right at that. I believe he's strictly a scorer. That's his strength. It's hard to compare him to somebody like James Harden, who that's really all they are, because he's established himself as long time as being a consecutive good scorer. Stars always get their numbers. So, it's hard on that aspect to compare him to somebody like that. But who? I'm just trying to think.
That's why I always go back to Lou Williams, because he would come in, score 25, and give you literally nothing else. I mean, Lou Williams averaged 20 to 25 a night off the bench for how many years in the NBA? He was like instant offense on how many Clippers teams?
Yeah, but those are bad teams, right?
No, that was like those Chris Paul Blake teams.
Did they win any titles?
No, but they went into the Western Conference Finals, I think, before. I mean, they made playoff runs. To me, that's the comp. Because he's 20 to 25 a night with nothing else. I've always said I've been saying he's Lou Williams for basically a second year in the NBA.
I don't know. I'll try to think of a player to better compare him to.
Because there's not a lot of guys like that right now. I mean, he's a better version of Karis LeVert, to be quite honest. LeVert's the same player. LeVert's maybe a slightly better passer, but not much. They're both the same guy, 20 to 25 a night, empty stats. I shouldn't say empty stats, just scoring. You're just not getting a lot else out of them. Someone said Tyler Hero.
No, because Tyler Hero is a sixth man, and that's where he belongs to be right now.
Someone said Ben Gordon. That's a good comp, too. Ben Gordon had like a couple years there where he would just shred people off the.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to say because we haven't seen any longevity, so it's hard to say, hey, he's going to.
He's better than Jordan. McCracken says Jordan Clarkson. He's a way better version of Jordan Clarkson. All right, we should probably get. I don't know what's worse, talking Cavs for 20 minutes or Marvel for 20 minutes. I don't know.
Man, it's probably been longer than 20 minutes.
What gets chat more fired up? If it was
How about
football season, we could go on a Baker Mayfield deep dive.
Got that Neo all heated up. Neo, you're gonna need to go jump in the ocean and cool off. After this guy.
I need a Lake Erie. I'm heading to Lake Erie after this stream. I don't have an ocean. So what on a scale of 1 to 10, what are you at, like a 12 for this Atlanta show?
Oh man,
just jacked up factor.
Yeah, I'm tired of waiting. Like I've been counting the days. I counted them last night. I was like, how many days before I leave? How many more weeks of work before I'm off to go? Yeah, just ready to go. You know what's been tough? And I've actually, the last 2 days, I've been doing a lot of deals on Instagram, but I've been trying to not sell. I want to take a lot of this stuff with me. And, I might do better selling on Instagram than I might at the show. I'm not really sure. You should never turn down a good offer, regardless of when you get it. But for me, I'm just kind of like, I want to have nice items in my showcases. I'm getting a lot of Instagram offers to the point to where it started getting hard to turn some of them down. And I actually made four Instagram deals yesterday. Sales, not purchases by myself. And I also have sold 2 cards to Dustin already that he's going to give me money for at the show. And I sold a card to the great curator that he's going to just pay me at the show. So I've sold 3 cards and I haven't even set up the table yet.
Sorry, I was replying to Michael in chat. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be hesitant to sell before. If you get good, fair offers, I mean, you know how these markets work.
Mm-hmm.
You wait a week, and the next thing you know, you're kicking yourself because you didn't take it the week before. Most of the time. I mean, sometimes it plays to your advantage, but more often than not, usually you end up kicking yourself about, God damn it, why did I counter that offer and then got crickets? I should have just accepted.
And before we started this live stream, I did close another deal that semi-closed because it opened back up, because A guy wanted to buy 2 PMGs off me, so we reached a deal for those 2. But then I had 2 more, and we started talking about those 2. So now I'm thinking, are we adding in the other 2 for more money, or are we just going with the original deal that we had for the first 2? So am I selling 4 PMGs for this much money, or am I just going to go through with the 2 that I sold for this much money? And this isn't even one that I've counted yet. So that's still a deal. I checked my Instagram message before I sat down here to do this. So that's where we stand on that right now, whether or not he's taking the other 2 or not.
Here's the thing to keep in mind too. If you sell now, that gives you way more cash to play with to buy stuff that walks up.
Yeah.
And everyone has always told me, I mean, I've never set up at a show, but I've talked to a lot of dealers. Everyone always says that's where the deals come, is what people walk up. You never know what's going to walk up to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you walk into that show having a lot of liquid cash on hand to be able to buy, that is going to be a bigger advantage than having the best fully stocked showcase in the world. Because your showcase is going to be good no matter what. If you're down a couple PMGs in a Jambalaya, you're down a couple PMGs in a Jambalaya. You know what I mean? Like, you got plenty of stuff to fill it.
But there are certain things that are super liquid right now, and there are certain things that, yes, it may be a good deal, but how quick is the card going to turn? Right now, selling a PMG or a Jambalaya is that easy, right? Yeah, I could get an $800 card for $350, and that's a great deal. How long am I going to be on that card before I move it, though? Is there anybody?
It might be before the end of the show, depending on when it walks up to you.
Yeah, I'm just saying, and that may be the case. I may buy an $800 card for $350, and I can throw it in my showcase for $650, make money, give somebody else a deal, and it sells quick. Or it may be a card that a lot of people are looking over, because right now a lot of people are looking to buy the same thing.
Or it might just be a card that you actually just want to own and that you're not looking to flip.
Oh,
You don't know what's going to walk up to you.
That's true too. It could be stuff that walks up to my table I just want to buy for myself as well. So,
and you're going to get the stuff, one, either people are going to know you and they're going to bring you the random shit, or 2, you're going to have the random shit out in your case. So more people are going to be more likely to show you their random shit. When I say random shit, that's not a knock. I'm just saying, like, non-sports card stuff. You know what I mean? Because you have unique Marvel stuff. And if you put any music stuff out or whatever in the case, someone walking by that has that stuff on them is going to be more likely to bring that up to you and be like, look at what I have. Are you interested in this? Because you already have it in your case.
That sweet Walt Disney card.
I'll tell you who might like that as card collector too.
But
I don't know if he's going to Atlanta or not, but he's a big Walt Disney collector.
I mean, I'm really looking to get into some nice football cards and some modern NBA. I really am. The markets are down. I'm looking for certain players. If they walk up to my table, that'd be great. But I also remember who else is going to be at the tables there with me. 2 guys that probably will get the deals before I do. So,
well, probably 3, right? Is Taxi going to be there too?
Yeah, but I think he walks the floor a lot.
Okay. So it's basically going to be Roth, Kenny. Do they walk the floor a lot, or are they at the booth usually?
They will do both, and then they have a friend with them. I believe his name is Mark, who usually sets up as well. So, yeah, they do both. But, you know, if the 3 of us are standing there and someone's coming up there with Ultra Modern Basketball or Joe Burrow or something like that, they're probably going to go to those 2 guys first. I understand that. That's fine. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But if me and you were sitting there, they're going to come to us first. We need a cool, like you and Michael Hammer, the Road Dog, and Road Dog Jesse James and Badass Billy Gunn. So we're going to have to come up with a tag team comp.
And, you know, yeah, it'll be great to have some stuff walk up to me that I might want to buy, but I got no problem if I don't buy anything while I'm there. I'm in mad seller mode right now just because I have stuff that's hot. And I always tell this to everybody. You got to sell the stuff that's hot and buy the stuff that's cold. I talked about that today when I was about to get in the ocean. I was like, entry level, cold, right? You don't want to buy it. You don't want to entry level on something at its peak. I mean, where do you have to go? You know, is it at its ceiling? So it's kind of like high risk, minimal reward.
Yeah. So what you got 3 tables, right? Between the 3 of you guys? Is that what it is? You guys have
Yeah.
3 tables, and then how many showcases are on each table? 2, 1.
It's an 8-foot table. It's 8-foot tables. So I'm thinking 3, I guess, depending on how you turn them.
And then what do you? So how do you guys have? Are you getting like a table all your? Is one table just yours, or are you giving table space from your own table to them too?
Yeah, we haven't really decided how we're going to set up. We just know that we got 24 feet worth of table and however many showcases we can throw up there. And do we even have enough inventory to fill those showcases? Because I know Kenny and Ross usually have enough inventory for like a case, I believe. I don't know if they have enough for 2. They might.
I don't have enough to fill a case for sure. I mean,
and for me, I feel like I have a lot of stuff, but I might start to fill up a showcase and be like, dang, these showcases are big. You know what I mean? I don't know how much space, I'm going to take up with my stuff. So I think Kenny said you can get 3 showcases on a table. Probably if I don't know if they're rectangular. So if they're rectangular and you turn them so that they're long ways, you get 3 on a table. So you're looking at, 9 showcases. Between 4 people that I know are setting up for sure, me, Kenny, Roth, and Mark, are the 4 of us going to take up 9 showcases? I don't.
Probably not. Like even if me and Dustin put cards out, you're probably not going to fill up. You know what I mean?
Right. And as of right now, we actually only rented. Well, I rented, I think, 3 showcases, 3 or 4. But then Kenny was bringing a couple, and I think Roth might have had a showcase. I'm not sure. So as of right now, we haven't even gotten enough showcases to fill our tables up. If we need 9 showcases, between what they're bringing and what I've rented, we don't have 9.
Yeah, if we get there when there's table space left open and we need space, I'll just rent a showcase and then people.
Yeah.
I'll probably take up a fraction of it and then whatever.
And I thought dealer setup was on Thursday, and I got an email today saying that dealer setup was Friday morning, but I think the show opens Friday morning. So I'm thinking
the show open until Friday afternoon.
Yeah, I'm thinking they think dealer setup Friday morning, as in being there ready to go by the time the doors open. Is what I mean.
I don't think the show. I think the early bird opens at like 1, and the show itself opens at 2 or 3. Officially, I think we land at like 10 a.m. I have a 7 a.m. flight, and then we get in about 10. And then I don't know if we're gonna Uber or rent a car. I haven't decided yet. My goal is to be at the place like by lunchtime, essentially. So I'll just message you to meet me with a badge or whatever.
Yeah, I think that
someone said VIP entrances at noon. Yeah, Marvel card guy or Marvel guy.
And I think that dealer setup will be Thursday night, because it just wouldn't make sense to have everybody trying to rush in there early in the morning.
And that's really when all the deals happen. I mean, a lot of deals happen on that Thursday night between the dealers.
Get their tables all set up, because you're going to have. And what I mean by dealer setup is I don't mean put your cards out. I just mean get your section set up the way you want it, your chairs, your tables, your showcases all set up. That way, when you come in Friday morning before the show starts, all you got to do is throw your inventory out.
Yeah, I thought about coming in on Thursday. It was just easier to do it on Friday. The way the flights lined up, save a night on a hotel room, save a day of PTO from work. We're flying in. We fly out early Sunday morning too, so I won't even be on the show on Sunday at all. I think our flight's at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning.
Yeah, I fly out Sunday, but I can't remember the exact time. I think I'll be able to do the show for a couple hours. It all depends.
Someone was asking in the chat, what was $280 per table and then $50 a showcase if you needed to rent them? Is that what it was?
Yeah, well, it was $250 per table, but then by the time you added in taxes, it was close to like $280. And it was $50 per showcase.
Okay, so you're basically looking at like $380 a table, assuming a table and 2 showcases if you're renting.
Yeah.
Which most people probably do, because very few people are probably, unless you're driving in, you're not going to fly with a showcase.
Right. And that gives you, and you get 2 chairs. They say 2 chairs and 2 dealer passes per table. So
I thought you said you were able to swing some extras.
Yeah, should be able to.
Okay.
Because I'll talk to, when I'm there early, I'll talk to the promoter. I know I can usually do that in Philly. So it's like, I've talked with Prism God and stuff in Philly. He comes to the Philly show, so I talked to him and stuff there, but I've never talked to him at an event that he's promoted. And yeah, I know that a lot of times, well, more often than not, you can get extra dealer passes.
Yeah. Worst case, I'll just have you come out, badge me in, and then whatever.
Yeah, I know Michael Hamm got one from Tampa Card Shop. Bryant got him one. So
I want a dealer pass for the National. I really want a dealer badge for the National. Whoever has table space out there that has access to dealer badges, if I got to pay for one, that's fine. I'm not looking to free ride it. I'll chip in, but I would just like the access of a dealer badge to be able to get in on that Wednesday night and stuff.
yeah. I started looking at my room for the National because
I have not done that yet. It got pushed back because of this Atlanta stuff.
So there's not many hotels. There's only like one hotel near the convention center.
I mean, I'm driving anyway, so I'm going to have a car to drive to the convention center every day. It's not that big of a deal.
But if you figure if most of the trade nights are going to go down in that hotel, I don't know which one they will go down in, but I know there's only like one hotel close to the convention center. Then the others are all off, closer to the boardwalk and things like that. The convention center is more interior of Atlantic City. And then most of your other hotels are on the boardwalk, either parts of casinos or next to the casinos, where the Sheraton is the only one that's actually kind of close, like right there near the convention center. I believe it's Sheraton, yeah.
Yeah, and it might just be like a situation where each hotel kind of has their own thing going on, and it's not like everyone go to the Lowe's like it was at Chicago because everyone could walk there. It might be more smaller breakout ones because you're not, I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong, you know much better than I do. It's not like you're going to want to be walking hotel to hotel in Atlantic City at 2:00 in the morning with 30,000 in cards on your back.
No, well, this is the worst possible time to be in Atlantic City. If you're looking for good rates and stuff, it's the middle of July. That's peak season where I live, right? You see where I live, the beaches and stuff. Just run the East Coast north, an hour and a half to 2 hours. And if I was to get on the beach today and sprint north for a couple days, I would hit Atlantic City. That's how it is. So it's like, just picture the hotels in the summertime when people are coming there to vacation. They're expensive. Like, if you go to get a hotel now in Atlantic City, you get it next to nothing. Nobody wants to be there right now. It's the middle of winter. Nobody's around, no tourists. If you are a part of a casino, if you're a casino member or something, they're giving you rooms for free just because they want you to come and gamble. I have friends that they will send a car to your house and pick you up and take you to the hotel to stay for free if you're going to come there and gamble. So
this, from the perspective of, like, I'm excited for the National just for the perspective of seeing everybody. You know what I mean? Like, that was the best part about last year's National. Could not be less excited about the location at all. Chicago was like, and that was my first National, so like, what the fuck do I know? But like, that was location-wise, I don't think you could ask for a better setup. You have like 8 major hotels with all conference centers for trade nights, and everyone's right there. You have dinner places close that you can either Uber to or DoorDash or get delivery. I mean, you don't have to leave a little 3 square mile section for 5 days and you're fine. Like, you just park your car and you forget about it if you drove or, whatever. There's no need for a car or Uber or whatever at the Chicago setup.
There's going to be a lot more stuff to do after the show because Atlantic City does have a huge boardwalk with all kinds of amusement, things like that. If people are looking for extracurricular activity to do, whether it be clubs or bars or boardwalk or whatever, but also, again, that adds to the tourism. Hotel rooms are astronomically priced. Transportation isn't the best. Again, it's not the best place. If you're walking around at night, you want to stay on the boardwalk. Okay, and you definitely don't want to go 2 to 3 blocks in and just be walking down the street with your case or anything. And then, let's be for real. Gambling breeds crime. First case experience. Gambling breeds crime. Okay, so we're in Atlantic City. So, for me, it's beneficial because it's not that far of a drive. I mean, I can drive there in a couple hours, or I can put my car on a ferry boat. The Atlantic Ocean that I was in today, there's actually a ferry terminal right near where I was at that takes you across and puts you right in New Jersey, and then you just drive a little bit north and you're in Atlantic City. So I can put my car on the the Cape May Lewis ferry and go right across and drive into Atlantic City, or I can just drive 95. So it's like, for me, I don't have to get a plane. Time frames, I don't have to leave early on Sunday like I did the National in Chicago to catch a flight. I can leave whenever I want to leave on the day that I want to get there. But as far as once you're there, I don't think the experience, and even if you're flying into Philly Airport, which is the closest airport, you're still easily 45 minutes out.
right?
You're still like 45 minutes out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a costly Uber ride. So, it's not a premium or prime location. It's not centrally located to everyone either if you're coming from the West Coast. But
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know it's like old guard is why they have it there, but it just feels like there's a billion better locations that show could be at instead of there. I mean, even the Cleveland one's not ideal. I know that the Cleveland Convention Center is massive space-wise. Everyone always says it's the best, but it's a hotel nightmare. There's no good hotels within 20 minutes of the Cleveland Convention Center.
Right.
And that's like, Cleveland Convention Center is 30 minutes from downtown Cleveland. Like, it's not, and it's not like Chicago where you have nice hotels across the street. Like, you're driving in every day.
Yeah. I mean, if people wanted to stay in the casino hotels, that's still probably where you're going to get your better rates, because they are casinos and they do want people housed up in them, because people staying in them is going to create, they believe is going to generate play. I mean, I can definitely give advice on some of the better hotels to stay at, whether it's location or the hotels are nice, even though they're casino hotels. And then I can also tell you some that you don't want to be at.
Yeah.
If you're looking at, I'm just saying, if you're looking at one, you pull up Google Maps and look at hotels, and it gives you all the prices around, and you're looking at the one that says $70 a night, you don't want to be in that one. Okay, just trust me.
There's an hourly rate listed below it.
You don't want to be in the $70 a night hotel there.
So here's the thing with the National. It has a strong East Coast bias. I don't think there will ever be a West Coast National. At least not officially named as the National, put on by that group. There could be a big show out West, but I don't think the National ever goes West. It's never gone. Well, I guess it was LA way back in the day, but it has the National has a very strong East Coast bias, and I don't know if I see that changing. Someone said Columbus or Nashville earlier, and I have heard that floated around quite a bit. Columbus would be, oh my God, I would freaking love Columbus. I think Nashville would be a really good spot for the National, talking about a billion things to do afterwards, and everything's centrally located.
Get one of them party buses with the jacuzzi, the buses with the tops cut off.
Yeah, we're all pedaling around with our slab cases, drinking those big ass margaritas out of those like 6 foot tall glasses.
That would be fun. I haven't been to Nashville in a long time. That would be cool.
There'd be a party bus with a bunch of Pelican cases going down the street next to a big bridal party one.
I got to visit Nashville for one day. I was on a job there, a contract job, when I used to work for my dad. My dad has a steel construction company. We were there taking down a water tower on Reba McEntire's ranch. So we drove to Nashville on one of our days off. I just went there for one day. It's kind of cool. But I've always wanted to go back. That would be cool to have a National there.
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever be a Vegas National. Vegas has big shows. The Mint Collective is next month, and then there's another big Vegas show in March as well. So I just don't see. I would agree. A lot of people are saying just make it in Chicago every year and be done with it. I would actually be perfectly fine with that. I mean, that's East Coast bias on me because it's easy for me to get to Chicago. But Chicago, like O'Hare, is is the busiest airport in the world. There's plenty of. It's easy to get flights in and out of Chicago. That was the appeal to me for Atlanta. Atlanta's an insanely easy airport. It's a shitty airport to deal with, like from a mental standpoint, but just in regards to getting flights back and forth, you could find a direct flight to Atlanta like every 5 minutes.
I know if you want to stay at the Sheraton that's closest to the convention center, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, so that's 3 nights, it's going to cost you between $900 and $1,000. I priced that out already, and that's a basic like 2 queen room or 2 double bed room for 3 nights. So it's like 300 and change a night. Then you got tax. Okay, so in Atlantic City, you got like tax, and then you got luxury tax. Okay, you ever played Monopoly and you got luxury tax between Park Place and Boardwalk? That's Atlantic City. You got an additional, okay, you get to pay taxes like a normal tax, and then you got a tax called a luxury tax. And people be looking at their receipts and be like, what the hell is a luxury tax? Well, you in Atlantic City, there's a luxury tax. Because the the Monopoly board was designed after Atlantic City. All the avenues and all the streets or whatever on Monopoly are Atlantic City. When you're driving through Atlantic City, you see them all. You see Boardwalk's right there, Park Place. The boardwalk is literally the boardwalk. But you see North Carolina Avenue, Pennsylvania Avenue, Ventnor, because there's a section in Atlantic City that's Ventnor, like a neighborhood. You got them all. St. James, St. Charles, right on around.
Hey, can I get a black BGS black label 10 and air in my favor or something like that? PSA 10 slab in my air.
Right.
Yeah, I need to dig into the national stuff. That's my after Atlanta project. I have not looked at that stuff.
If you, the way to go would be maybe get into a group of friends and be like, hey, do you guys want to do an Airbnb and maybe get a beach Airbnb and split the cost? That would probably be cheaper, but then again, you're not going to be right on top of the convention center. You're going to have to travel a little bit.
But I think I think getting on top of the convention center is just going to be tricky no matter what.
Right. And I looked at it as if, if I split a room with somebody, then I'm looking at, maybe $450 to $500. So that doesn't sound so bad once I split a room with someone. But if you're going by yourself or like you with your spouse and you have to foot that bill yourself, then it makes it tough. It's expensive.
They call that a tax write-off, Steve. What do you think the Spider-Man black suit Jambalaya ended at?
Did it end?
Yeah. Don't look. What do you think it got?
I can't look. I'm on my phone. Well, I put the over-under on it at 1650.
So what do you think? Gonna come in over or under?
I was going to go under.
How much under?
Well, I was actually going to put
it was at 1200, so it's not like there's a wide range.
Well, I was going to put the over under at 1600, and then I was like, if it trickles, I believe 1600 is a fair number. If it trickles over, so I got to make this more difficult. So I added the 1650 over under to it. You see, I'm a handicapper, man. See, I'll be working in the casino. Like I add the extra $50, it makes it harder to pull an over under on it. So I went with the under once I added the $50 to it. So I'm going to get.
Wondering what we're talking about, I'll link to it in chat. Black suit Spider-Man Jambalaya. I went for 1424.
Okay, so it went under. Okay.
Yeah.
It went well under, actually.
What do you think the Wolverine gets to? The Wolverine ends in 3 minutes. It's at 760 right now.
I'm going to put the over under at 925. And I'm going to say
here's over. Wolverine. I link to it in chat. So chat.
I'm going to say over 900, under 1,000.
Okay, I think that's pretty. I think that given what the black suit went for, I do like this. This Wolverine is pretty nice looking. I don't know condition wise. It's actually in better shape than the Spider-Man black suit did have a lot of edge chipping on the back, which I know is common for these, but this one doesn't look. The front's decent. I don't know. These Jambalayas are. I think the Jambalayas. Do you think the Jambalayas are more condition sensitive than the PMGs? I think they are.
Yes.
By a large margin, I would say.
So the problem you have with Jambalayas is
looks like someone chewed on them when they cut them.
The edging. So
and if you ever look on the back.
The funny thing is that if you ever look at a BGS and it's got subgrades, corners always get like a 10, right?
They don't exist.
Yeah, because there's no corners. So corners always get like a 10. So corners, yes, there's no problems with the corners. Centering can be off on them though. Sometimes look at how they throw the picture on there. Sometimes it can almost look misstamped. The backs, the edging, the edges are black. It's hard to, you know how that is. And then the surfaces, you can't microfiber them. If you try to microfiber your surface, it's going to kind of shred your microfiber because it's like sandpaper. Like the front of the cards are like sandpaper almost, fine grade sandpaper. And the Jambalaya printing and name printing and stuff kind of likes the gold flake off. Now, it doesn't gold flake off to the extent to where it messes up the actual stamping, but the gold flakes like to get on the card, on the surface of the card, and then you can't wipe them off because you can't use a microfiber. So the only way to really get your gold flakes off of it, unless PSA doesn't punish you for that or grading companies don't punish you for that, is to use air. So you can
Even
use,
that's tricky. One little wrong turn of that can, and you're really.
and that's going to be dangerous because if you're going to use air to clean the surface, like like duster, like keyboard duster, you got to make sure you got an airstream coming out, and that CO2 doesn't liquefy on you. You don't want that on your card. So high pressure air to get those to get the surface flakes off. So that's why you just don't see those graded well. That's why you see 9s go for crazy money, and you see 8s go above raws, and you don't see 10s.
This Jambalaya has 10 seconds left on it. Let me see if this ends up. Still sitting at 760, but we'll see if it gets the last minute bump.
I'm gonna say 9:15.
Okay. Woo!
They get a big bump.
I gotta hold on. We gotta look at the bids on this one. Okay, that looks legit. 15.25.
There's no way a Wolverine outsells a black suit Spider-Man, man. Get out of here.
The winner has 4,700 feedback. So it's not like, and there's nothing looks shilly about this. Hold on, let me do a share screen. I know this will be hard for you to see, but
Yeah, Wolverine stuff has gotten super hot. We know that.
I mean, if someone's gonna do it, it would be. But yeah, I mean, here's the a 760 feedback bumped it to 1,000. Someone jumped it to 1,500, then someone came over the top at 15.25 with the snipe.
And I still think traditional suit Spider-Man outsells black suit Spider-Man.
To be fair, though, like we said, that black suit was really rough. This Wolverine, it's not like the best, but it does look better. Like this back is a little messed up, but the black suit Spider-Man was really messed up.
See, I didn't look at the condition of the black suit Spider-Man. I was just curious at what it was going to end at.
I don't think it was great. Let me find it.
So I didn't even check. I wasn't in as a buyer. I just wanted to see what it looked like. I just wanted to see what it ended at so I could get a market value on mine.
Yeah, there you go. Went for $100 more. Yeah, like to me, this one's pretty rough. Like that looks torn almost.
That left edge doesn't even. It looks more than just edge wear. That left looks actually.
Those are right. That bottom left's no good either.
See the bottom edge wear looks like normal edge wear. That left to the left of that J there, looks like a nick.
Yeah, it looks like torn.
Yeah, I'm looking at mine, and mine's in PSA 8.
Okay.
Mine's a PSA 8, and the edges on mine definitely don't look like that. They look way better.
So maybe that's the reason it went a little low. I don't know, but
yeah, the edges on mine look way more.
It's hard to tell because of the glare and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, they do look better than. That's got Kenny Fornos' name written all over it.
Does it? It says Spider-Man.
Isn't he hunting for one of those? I know he's a big Miles guy.
I think so. He's a bigger Miguel fan, I believe.
Oh yeah, your 2099 is probably right up his alley.
What's that 29? Okay, so story on the
DMs about speaking of comic books. He was in my DMs about like, okay, so ASM 365 or Spider-Man 2099 #1, which one do I want to go with? So maybe he's getting into his first CGC slab.
Maybe. When I got the collection in, he wanted to buy this one off me. And I was like, well, the 2099 I'll sell. That's not a big time one. It's Spider-Man 2099. To me, I'm like, that's not big time. So I looked at what I paid for it in the collection. And I think I either said 400 or 450. I'm just going to say 450 plus the grading fee that I owe you, because I owe him, I think, $150 for submitting my Kobe Bryant auto. He sent that in for me. So $600 in total. But he couldn't pull the deal. He thought that was a little too much. So I ended up, because I said to him, if you don't want it, I'm just going to grade it. So he was like, all right, just go ahead and grade it. And then I graded it, and it came back a 9. I'll probably get close to $2K for it now.
On the Kobe, that's on card, right?
No, on the Spider-Man 2099.
Oh, the Spider-Man. Sorry.
The Kobe, yeah, the Kobe's on card. The Kobe I hope to get 3, 4.
His auto market's like a market inside a market inside a market, the way I understand
Yeah.
it.
It's not. It's out of 40. It's on card.
What product's it out of?
So
There's an MM0 ending tonight at auction, but I haven't seen it. You must have it titled weird. I have a saved search for that. I didn't see it.
I see Brian talking about Q-tips are tight for tricky spots, but Q-tips have a cotton end, and that would be just like a microfiber cloth where that cotton would like if you rub a Q-tip across a sandpaper, it's going to heat it up.
It's coming out of Canada. That's why I didn't see this.
What's that?
There's oh, they screwed this up. Boy, I wish this was priced at a decent amount. I'll do a share screen again.
Spider-Man achievement.
This is why I didn't see this. Someone made a mistake on this, but they don't have it priced cheap for an opening bid. They have it as MMO, not MM0.
Oh.
So it didn't turn up on the search result, but their opening bid is $835. So it's not like even at though that's under last comps. I wonder how many people
last comp was like 12, right?
Yeah, but there's a couple sitting at $13.50 best offer, buy it now right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 2 up for auction. That someone listed 2 together. They end simultaneously. One's at 400 right now, one's at 300 right now, but they have days left on it. But yeah, this is, I mean, be careful the way you name your eBay auctions. This would have way more eyes on it if it was MM0 instead of MMO, for sure. So yeah, I mean, at $835 with a 1 bid, if you believe in this card, you're getting it probably $400 under last comp with some Canadian nonsense regarding shipping. It's coming from Quebec. But I mean, I'm excited that I got mine for $400. I don't know that I would pay $1,000 for one or even $1,200 for one. This one does look pretty clean though. Those bottom corners look good. What's the back look?
Yeah, I pay.
Top left corner is a PSA 9, maybe an 8. That edge is a little nasty too.
Top left corner looks, yeah.
Yeah, doesn't that edge look a little ragged too? Right above like the I and the D, like that dark gray section looks a little ragged. Not bad, but
yeah, I don't think the edge would get stung as bad as that.
I just don't like seeing that white there.
White corner.
Well, the white corner or the white on the edge where the dark gray and the light gray meet.
Yeah, I see it.
Like, oh, stupid mouse. The front looks good, though. The front looks real clean.
Yeah. Thick stock cards are going to run into that, though. You know that.
Yeah. I mean, I sent mine in. I am hoping for a 9. I'm expecting an 8. Just because PSA kills the thick stock cards. I would love to get a 9. Man, if I pulled a PSA 10 on that, I would freaking go.
They weren't too harsh on my Iron Man. My Iron Man had a little chippy edge at the top, and they weren't too harsh on it. But that's the rest of the card was immaculate. So I still got an 8.
357. How many teams is Harden going to play for before he retires with no rings? Shots fired.
Let's see. How many teams has he played for already? OKC, Houston, the Nets, now the Sixers. Is that 4? Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a microfiber only guy. I haven't watched the Kurtz card care stuff yet. I'm always leery of that stuff. I need to dig into it more.
Yeah, I just use my microfiber. If it's a chrome-based card and I feel like there's something on there I need to get off, I just use water.
No, Melvin, to answer your question, hell no, I did not send that to SGC. My Spider-Man MM0 is sitting at PSA right now. That's not an SGC card. Sorry. This
not now.
Here's a good one for you. And I'll ask chat this too, because I honestly don't know. I did the SGC Rugo video today. If you guys haven't watched that, go check it out. I'm actually doing a giveaway in that video. I am giving away. What am I giving away? You might ask. Chat, you might say.
There's Garland Red Prism.
I'm giving one of this right here. Giving this away.
Oh, I thought you were giving the Garland away.
No, nice try. No, this is on the giveaway. If you watch today's video, you'll find out what you need to do to enter. And it's nothing that crazy. I'm not super complex.
Come on, Backyard Neo. You're not going to honor your Darius Garland giveaway?
Nah, there's no Darius Garland giveaway, man.
Backyard Neo in the house.
What would you value? How would you value this? I asked this in the Marble. No one can give me a good answer on this. So it's 89 comic images, McFarlane artwork. It's the image from Spider-Man 301. So it's not original art, but it's still McFarlane.
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
And
I mean,
it's probably one of, an insanely tough grade. Because these things are, I ripped the box of this, and these things come out of the 90% of them are off centered, and then not the 10% that's left over, 99% of those are effed up in some way or another.
right.
Like,
I mean, you're not going to
find the cheapest paper stock ever.
I mean, you're not going to get a market comp. So
yeah, this is a pop one in any grading company. Period. This is the only 10 in existence.
That's like a card a collector is going to buy, right?
I was thinking 1K and just see what rolls in.
You could.
Plus, this is. I mean, listen. People know I'm like semi-indifferent on SGC. This card looks really good in this slab. This card was made for this slab, in my opinion.
You can't put it at auction because you're not going to have the right people looking at it.
I agree.
So you're going to have to just put it at a buy it now, throw it up on Instagram, something like that, get some eyes on it, see if somebody makes you an offer, see if somebody says how much.
Charles wants to trade for it. Stack and Gems has been up. We've been DMing back and forth. He's like, I want to trade for your Spidey. Bring the PMGs to Atlanta and we'll talk, Charles.
Charles, you need to save your money for Atlanta. I need somebody to buy this Luke Cage PMG off me. It's a PSA 10, man.
Are you talking about the Melvin? Are you talking about the silver Spider-Man that we had up on the screen a minute ago? That's a PSA card. Sorry, in my opinion. Are you grading your MM0, Steve, or are you just going to flip it raw?
It was in my stack of cards to send. It was in my stack of cards. Remember I said earlier I was going to send some cards at Super Express? It was in my stack, but I didn't send that order in. Like, that was in the stack. That was in the stack.
Ooh, that old man Logan.
That was in the stack. So the blue Doctor Strange, the old man Logan, the Spider-Man. Where's the other two? There was two more.
You agree with me, though. The Spider-Man MM0 is 100% a PSA card.
Oh, definitely. Definitely now.
Yeah, that's a 1K raw card. No offense to SGC, but I'm not sending that to SGC.
One thing, and there might be a lot of Marvel card collectors out there that disagree with me, and they may be completely right. But just one thing that I'm kind of noticing, when I first started getting into Marvel cards, and I graded with SGC. Remember my Venoms and my.
I know where you're going with this, and I was going to ask you this question. So I'm going to cut you off, and I'm going to ask you the question. Mm-hmm. How do you see SGC versus PSA on the Marvel side? Because I know that's where you're going. So let me just ask the question formally and then go.
So, being someone who has graded with both, in the beginning, when I got back my Venoms and my Carnages that I sent to SGC, and the reason I sent them to those is you got to remember when I was buying PMGs, the Carnage was like $9, right? So
it's so funny to think about, like how
the red Black Widow, and this is the sticking point to this Black Widow that I still have, is that it's in an SGC case.
Is that 13 or 15? I don't remember.
This is 15. She doesn't have a 13.
Okay.
This is one of the first ones. This was the first PMG I ever graded. I bought this card for $35 and sent it in to get graded. And that's the only PMG I had for a long, long time. I haven't really been able to move that. Now, I haven't tried to move it since the boom. But when I was trying to sell that, originally I listed it on eBay for $250 and nobody would buy it. I bought it for $35 and graded it for $30. I was like, $65. If I can get $250 for this, that's a great flip. Nobody would buy it. I just put it in, and I put it in my case for a long time because I actually liked the card. Then I offered it up at the Philly trade night to somebody for $400. Was going to bundle it with another card for $350, and they still said no. So it still sits. If that wasn't a PSA slab, I would have moved. It would have moved with no hesitation. I'm finding that in the beginning with my Venoms and my Carnages, selling them in SGC was easy, right? There just wasn't. People wanted them graded or they wanted them raw. Most people were getting them graded with SGC for the same reason that I was. Marvel collectors didn't necessarily prefer one grading company to the next, not as much as sports card collectors did. So the SGC made a lot of sense then. But the more and more now, people want PSA or they want raw, it tends to be like. Or if they want an SGC, like they don't value a SGC 9 the way that they value a PSA 9. And a 9 is hard to get. I don't care what grading company you go with. If you're grading a PMG and you get a 9, that's a hell of a grade. However, people want to value SGC 9s like they're 8s. They don't want to put on it the PSA, and that just might be my perspective with the select few cards that I have. So I don't have tons and tons, so I don't have as much experience as others. But with the select few cards that I have, and even if you look at listings that are sitting, you will see SGC 9s of a lot of PMGs out there, and you'll see buy it now prices on them, and you'll be like, man, why hasn't that sold? If that was a PSA 9, that would have been bought up. You know, I was looking at a character the other day. For instance, I was looking at a Captain America like bronze SGC 9, and it was listed for like $700. Do you think that Captain America would still be sitting on eBay if it was a PSA 9 for $700?
Probably not. Do you think it's a matter of like you've talked about this a lot, and I 100% agree with you. Do you think it's because there's PSA slab competition now, or do you think it's because the buyers that are coming into the market don't prefer SGC slabs, they prefer PSA slabs, or a little bit of both?
Both. I think the buyers that are coming into the market, the new buyers, if they're people from sports cards, they're going to cross in with the same mentality that they have in sports cards, and that's PSA is king. The Marvel card collectors who don't necessarily care as much, and I might be wrong, but they don't seem to care as much as the sports card collectors. They're not buying PMGs at super high premiums anyway because they either already have them or they remember a time of when they were affordable, and now it seems outrageous to pay the prices they're paying for them. I don't know. I might be completely missing it on that, because I'm not saying that applies to all Marvel card collectors, because there's still definitely someone buying these cards for big money. I feel like I've said this, and I still stick by this. I feel like people want to buy these cards raw. And we're seeing big premiums on raw cards because I believe that people who aren't very experienced with PMGs, especially Marvel, are thinking, I'm going to grade this, it's going to be a 9 or better. And then I'm going to make lots of money off of it. I'm going to go raw. I'm going to flip raw to graded on PMGs and make lots of money. But they're not realizing that a lot of these grades are going to come back 7s. A lot of the grades are going to come back 8s at best.
But to be fair, a 7's a good grade, though, in my opinion. Knowing PMGs not as well as, I haven't graded, I have my first couple ones at grading now, but just knowing the legacy of PMGs from the sports card side, a 7 is a very legit grade in a PMG.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. This card right here, this is just a bronze Miles, okay? So this card right here in a PSA.
When'd you get that?
That came in that collection.
Oh.
Oh, you don't know all my secrets?
Oh, I forgot about that one. I got this.
Let me remind you. But anyway, this in a PSA 6 went at auction the other night. I think it went for $900.
Yeah.
In a PSA 6, imagine that. In a PSA 6. Where is the gamble? Where's the gamble if I send this in? I have to do worse than a 6 to not get raw card value for this. If this grade's a 7, 8, or a 9, and someone looks at the PSA 6 comp at $900, a 7, 8, or a 9 is big time money, right? Is a big time differential. So that's the way a lot of people are looking at these raw cards, where they're like, man, I see that a 6 and a 7 is selling this much. There's not a whole lot of risk for me to buy raw and grade. And that's why you're seeing graded cards draw a premium. This is one I had set up to send in, actually. The last raw blue green goblin went for $1,300 raw. So I was going to send this in because I'm like, even if this comes back a 7 or an 8, I'm probably getting $1,300 for it. If it comes back a 7, if it comes back an 8 or a 9, I'm probably getting $2K plus for it. I just didn't have time to send all this stuff in, so I will sell it raw.
Yeah, I mean, if you weren't going to the Atlanta show, how much of that stuff would be at PSA right now?
Every single one of my PMGs and every single one of my Radiance Vibraniums, and probably more than half of my refined Vibraniums.
I noticed a lot of that, which I don't have nowhere near the Vibraniums that you have. I noticed a lot of mine have really small surface issues. Like very tiny little, nothing crazy like that. What I would be like, oh my God, I'm returning this card to you. But it would make it so that I wouldn't grade it, because I don't think those are going to pull a premium on a PSA 9. I think you're going to have to 10 those.
I think on a 9 you will get. I think
it would be like, I think it would be like a silver, like a Lucas Silver. You'll get a slight premium on a 9, but you're not going to crush it on a 9.
Yeah, I think you'll.
I think it's going to follow like a more traditional Prism Silver type distribution on like raw 9, 10 is my theory on those anyway.
I can see a 9 getting 2x max, 1 to 1.5, 1.5 to 2 times, I think, a raw. So say for instance you got $100 Doctor Strange refined and you grade it and it comes back a 9. I believe it could be a $200 card. If it comes back a 10, I believe it can be like a $1,000 card.
Yeah, I don't know if it gets that high in a 9. It could maybe early on when there's not a lot of them out there. I want to answer 2 questions from Michael really quick. I'm going to take the second one first, and we'll circle back to this one. Thoughts on the Avengers Infinity War PMGs? So here's the thing with those. I would not go chasing those. They are non-numbered, and they are not rare. So, and they're MCU, not traditional comic book stuff. Typically, the MCU stuff, from what I've seen, doesn't do as well unless it's like actor autographs, like a Tom Holland, or some of the Black Diamond gem cards and stuff like that. I would not be chasing those 2018 Infinity War PMGs. They're not, in my opinion, they're not real PMGs. It's just like an insert almost. It's not like an elusive chase. Those things are everywhere. I see those all the time on eBay. And then I want to circle back to his other point. Will Marvel PMG ever return to a low floor? I don't think so. I mean, they could. I guess I'm going to kind of rephrase this question. And we kind of talked about this in that group chat a few times. Do you think we are starting to see the plateau on PMGs? Not a crash, but just do you think that we're like every sale going for 10 to 20% more than the last one? Do you think those days are already over and we're just kind of settling in at like, these are kind of the new numbers now, give or take, a few percentage either way, depending on condition or whatever, if it's a raw card. But generally speaking, do you think we're done with the, oh God, that was a $500 card 2 weeks ago, and now it's a $2,000 card, and now it's a $3,000 card?
It's all circumstantial. To me, I think the comps on these are all circumstantial. It's circumstantial to how many are at auction at one time, how many buy it nows you see. Because we were talking about a card the other day. I think it was a Venom Red, correct?
Yeah.
We were talking about how the Venom Red has come down in price. But you're also looking at there's some buy it nows out there, and you're like, this buy it now is priced lower than the last comp. Why isn't anybody pulling the trigger? Well, there's 2 running at auction. Most of the people are going to go after the ones that are running at auction before they pull the trigger on a buy it now. These cards aren't market value cards. These are going to be perceived value cards at any given time, and it's going to be circumstantial to how many are for sale, how many buyers are there. I said that on some of the higher end ones, you might have 2 whales going head to head on an auction. Once one of those whales wins his card, when the next one comes up, you need that whale that lost needs to have competition again. If not, he's going to get it at a cheaper price this time around. The moment we started talking about drawbacks, we saw a monster sale, I think on a Deadpool or something. So again, I also think it can be based around the characters.
Yeah, that one seems. I think everyone was questioning that sale too, though, because it seemed a little off. Well, the other thing too with the Venom is that then a blue sold for way what you would think would be cheap, considering it sold for like $2K less than the last red.
I also think you have lots of people that are trying to build sets. We saw the golden auction sets, which means what they went for. So I think people are trying to build sets. if they're trying to build a set and the card becomes available that they need for their set, it's probably going to get a little bit more of a premium because they are needing it for their set. And to that note, we talked about how the Reds kind of are pulling equal or not too far off of the blue sales. You would think the Blues would sell for at least 2x the value, and sometimes it's not the case. Sometimes they sell pretty close.
Yeah, it's been about 1.4, I think, has been the multiplier.
So you're talking about 90 Reds and 50 Blues, right? That's not a big differential in serial number.
99 Reds. Well, yeah, 90 because of the greens.
Yeah,
You're right.
90. Yeah, their serial number to 99, but what a lot of people don't know is the first 10 are green. So you're talking at 90 Reds to 50 Blues. That's not a huge differential in numbers. And they're not all for sale. So
yeah, a lot of them are just never going to see the light of day.
I think you're going to see them sell really high. Then you might see an auction that comes in low, and then the next auction might be higher. I think they're just going to go like that because of the circumstances around the certain auction, whether when it's ending, the buyers involved, the reason why those buyers are involved, the times the auctions are ending at. People are ending their auctions early in the morning, middle of the day. It's like so.
But so maybe this, so give or take maybe like 15% up or down.
Right.
Do you think we're at generally like the ranges this stuff is going to sell in?
Yeah, I don't. There's going to be a pullback from record prices and from some of these peaks, but I don't see these cards going back to.
No, you're not going to get a bronze PMG for $15 anymore. Like that's gone.
And you're also going to see some characters that are going to increase in value. Right now, nobody cares about Iron Fist, right? But what happens when somebody has a reason to care about Iron Fist?
Yeah.
So again, nobody really cared that much about Carnage. And then the movie came out and everybody wanted his cards and his comics.
Well, the symbiotes are always The symbiotes are always popular. Like that's kind of.
But even look at the comic book world. Look at what you can get a Spider-Man 361 9.8 at now. $500.
Yeah, that's a weird one though because there's a million of them.
Yeah, and so even when you're talking from a rarity standpoint, there was probably more demand for that book at the time than there was PMGs and Marvel cards, because the Marvel cards weren't as popular as comic books. Pop reports are always relative to supply and demand, and I believe comic books were in more demand at the time. So, that book now is like a $500 book. It was a $1,300 book.
I'm curious. I just noticed there's a blue Iron Man 2013 that ends tonight on Probes.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I saw that. Looks pretty clean.
Last time I saw it was up to like 4,000.
It's at 5 even right now. I'll share. This looks. I mean, there's like some edge stuff on it, but that's what's going to be expected. But like this card, like that top right looks for PMG. That looks good. That top left, there's a little bit of white, but once again, for a PMG, that's what you're going to expect to see.
So
bottom that's a little sketch, bottom right, but that's probably like I would say, what would you say? This is a solid 8 on the front.
Yeah, without being able to look at the surface good, yes, I would say.
Make sure there's nothing crazy on the back.
I have some 2013 8s.
Nothing looks like insane on the back, like good, bad, or indifferent. But like this should be a pretty big card. You know what I mean? Like Iron Man is one of the key characters, and that's the 2013.
But to be honest, it's at $5,000 right now. That's already big. That's a raw card.
Oh, for sure. Then eBay is going to ship it to you in a card saver that it's going to fall out of.
Yeah, but I mean that's big. That's big. That's a big card at the moment before it even reaches what it's going to end at.
Yeah, I will be curious to see how that goes. The EX Centuries have been getting a lot of love lately, to answer Michael's question again, on the 2017.
So the 2017 EX Centuries, now, the EX Centuries were actually an insert, right, in the 2017 Spider-Man set.
Yeah, there's multiple. There's a numbered version of them, and there's a regular version of them. The numbered versions go for a lot. The base version.
They were one.
Run up.
Yeah, they were 1 to 2 a box. You would either get one of those per box. You would either get 2 of those a box, I'm sorry, or one of those and a different insert. For the base, just the base plastic EX Century card. I have one in front of me, actually. This is a red Morbius.
Oh, you showed that in chat, dude. That's a sick-looking card.
Yeah, and this is numbered out of 34. So this would be like essential credentials. If you were in basketball or football or something, this would be like the essentials credentials version. And we know how crazy they are in sports cards. They're tough to grade, and even in low grades, though, they do good. So, I mean, this is what there's red and there's purple, and they're called then and now. So in the EX Century for Marvel, they're called EX Century then and now. In base or in basketball and football, they're called EX Century credentials. So they're the same set, they're the same parallel, but just named differently for Marvel.
CSG will ship it in a sandwich bag. I saw there was another one today. There's 4 now that I've seen that they've not done great on. There's definitely something going on with that holder that they're sending in and those cards slipping out, because have you ever seen a card slip out of a card saver like that before? Those cards fit so tight in those things.
I send cards into grade all the time in card savers, and I've never had issues with them getting damaged in transit to PSA or to SGC or whoever.
The only thing I can think of is, and this was not an original thought. Multiple people mentioned this in comments on the video that I did on it. Is that there might be something with the way the black straps are like squeezing the top, and it might be squeezing it open a little bit enough for it to slide loose. That's the only thing I could think of, because card savers. I mean, I hate putting cards in card savers. I'm always afraid I'm going to damage them. Slipping them.
And what do you do? Savers. What do you do when you want to put your card in? You squeeze the edges to open it up, right?
Yeah, you're like this, and I got that thing like wide open trying to get a card in there, because I hate. I mean, anyone that's sending.
And I'm thinking that could be the effect that those black straps are having on the card saver. It's
it's loose in there, and then it bounces around, and next thing you know, it starts to slide out. That's the only thing I could think of. And like on that one that Steven sent in, the way that the card shifted, the black strap was then wrapped around the corner of the card. You know what I mean? So that's potential to cause a surface issue there. So that they need to figure something out. I don't know why they're shipping in card saver. Well, I guess because they're putting it in that dumb bag with the authentication seal on it.
Did you get any more of the gold foil autographs?
The gold webs?
Yeah.
No, I got those 2 and I sold both of them. I just got the 2. Those were the only 2 that I could find.
You had the black
suit and a silk.
Oh, okay, you sold the silk?
I sold it today. I shipped it today.
Oh, okay. I haven't listed this one. I got a Deadpool.
His are weird because he has a million of them.
Yeah, but this is the Deadpool.
Yeah, I know it is, but still, I think it kind of waters it down, though.
Well, I mean, if the other one is an insert set that says Deadpool around the world, and this is, I mean, when you look at an insert in comparison to.
So I got $650 for the black suit, and I got $250 for the silk. I paid $50 a piece for both of them. So I was into them for $100 total, and I sold them for $900 before fees.
Did I tell you what I paid for the Deadpool?
No, I don't think so.
What do you think I paid for the Deadpool?
I'm gonna guess 45.
No, higher.
Oh, like 65, 70? Under 100, I'll say.
I paid 70.
Yeah, that's what most of that stuff was listed between 50 and $75, and I just found a couple of the key characters.
Yeah.
That looked good and just grabbed them. But that stuff kind of like, I think that ship's already sailed though.
Oh like yeah,
you're not finding those for under $100 now. Like that movie.
I saw 2 Ghost Riders and they were like $30 a piece on ComC. And then like a week later, I went back to get them, and the person had hiked them up to like 200.
Yeah, because they started moving all of a sudden. Yeah. I picked up these. I don't know if they're going to keep going up or not, but I really like them. They're in a mail day video.
The Royal Foil.
Yeah, I got the Carnage and the Black Cat. The Black Cat's damaged, which I ended up getting a small refund on. I didn't realize it until I looked at it for grading.
The only one I had was the one I had out earlier, the Hawkeye.
These are really nice. I do still think these are a little slept on because people are gonna eat up that gold background and the fact that they're numbered out of 99. I got both of these for after the refund $225, but the Widow Or I'm sorry, the Black Cat shot. It has a massive surface issue on it.
I picked up a Thanos Intimidation Nation,
That's a cool looking card.
which is pretty cool. They're not numbered, but they're decently rare inserts. Not as rare as they are in sports cards, so I don't want people to get confused with that. And I'll put that out there. In sports cards, Intimidation Nations are like 1 in 360 packs or something. But in Marvel, they're only like 1 in 48. So if you're coming into Marvel cards from sports and you see Intimidation Nations and you're like, oh, that's not very expensive in comparison to sports, keep in mind the pack odds aren't as rare. Now, with that, also keep in mind that not as many Marvel cards were printed. So the print runs could be, could there be 10 times more basketball cards printed than Marvel cards? Yes, which means the print runs on the inserts are going to be about the same. But the pack odds to pull them weren't as difficult at the time.
Yeah,
I've been liking these.
My last batch of Marvel stuff that I have raw that's gradable is in this box. And then I have 13 cards at PSA, including this, which is still in my hands. It's all Marvel. And that's pretty much, unless I'm going to send a bunch of Weiss Schwartz stuff, depending on how it does. I'm out of like raw cards to grade. Like I keep going through this stack and I keep finding things that I like. This was stuff I had pulled a long time ago, and it's kind of like I give it a second or third or even fifth look at this time, and I'm like, I don't like this one thing about this card, and I move it to the side. You know what I mean? You're gonna like. I don't know if you saw it on Instagram. I posted. I sent it. It's in that box to go out. The Scarlet Witch rainbow foil. You'll see it probably in Monday's video. It was going to be tomorrow's video, but I got to move it. But I posted it on IG. It's from Fleer Ultras 2018. It's the achievement rainbow foil. I'd show it to you, but it's in the box. It looks slick. I got it for like $20. It's not numbered, but they're super short printed.
I like the 2014 Upper Deck Premier Golds. Now, I don't like them from the other years. The other years, like 2017 and stuff, they just look kind of cheap. But from 2014, they got really good artwork. They got gold foil on them, like that. And then they're numbered out of 25. The newer ones are numbered out of like 15 and stuff, but the card doesn't look nearly as good. The card stock or the front of the card, it just looks like a base card that they stamped. So
we got two different Michaels both asking about Marvel Masterpiece 2016 and the numbered cards out of there. I know you made some moves on some of that stuff.
The 2016...
I missed the window on that one.
Here's a 2016 Marvel Masterpiece Purple. This one's numbered out of 199 at Scarlet Witch.
That's what he's talking about here.
So it's going to depend on the character. 199, think of a 199. Think bronze precious metal gems are out of 199. So kind of look at what they're pulling and don't use that as a reference, really. As far as don't use that as a reference as to what they could be worth, because remember, they're not precious metal gems.
So like, what would you think out of the bronze, because that's 2017 Spider-Man, what, the Miles or the actual Spider-Man itself? I'd actually almost say the Miles is probably the best card in that set. What does that do? Maybe 1,000?
Well, actually,
like yours, you have one. Like, what would you price that out if you were putting it in your case, roughly speaking?
Oh, that roll there?
Yeah. The
probably,
Miles
yeah.
Out of 199. Would you think it's like an $800 card?
It would be, I would say it's 1,000, considering a 6 did 900.
So you would think 1,000 goes that much over a raw?
No.
Or a raw goes that much over a PSA 6?
Over a 6, yes. If that was a PSA 8 that went for 900, no.
It was a 6 that went for 600, I think, but
900.
Oh, went for 900. Okay, yeah. Then yeah, I would think that's probably I think you put it out at 1,000 and probably take 900 on it or something like that. I mean,
if somebody looks at this and they're like, that's probably a PSA 8, right?
Yeah, I don't know what the condition on yours is, but
whenever you sell raw cards,
right.
Raw cards are going to fluctuate based on condition. We know that. So
that to me, that is the pinnacle of the out of 199 bronze is about $1,000, at least for now.
I do think the Miles Masterpiece out of 199 sells for more. I do think that it does. Now, once you get up to the one, because the one selling so the base Now, when we say base Marvel masterpieces from 2016
They're
or
numbered
2016,
too.
guys, they're numbered out of 1999. That set, even in a base, is numbered out of 1999, so nearly 2000. That one sells for like $100 at least. And then the purple I be seeing selling for a lot. But also keep in mind, yes, that's Miles's first precious metal gem, but I also believe it's Miles's first Marvel masterpieces. So to the comic book or to the Marvel card collectors, I think
Masterpieces, national treasures, like
Marvel
masterpieces.
masterpieces is their card,
That's the top of the
right?
line.
But if you're a sports card collector and coming in, you probably want a precious metal gem. So, and the artwork on the Miles 2016 masterpiece is awesome. I love that.
I like his PMG artwork. I think his PMG image is fantastic.
Yeah, the PMG image looks good too.
Like they didn't shortchange him on that.
I have a Miles base out of 1999 and the Miles achievement coming on the way, because there is also an achievement from the same year.
The achievement is the one that I wanted and I missed on it.
The achievement is not numbered on the back. However,
like
there's there's like less than 200 of them printed. So there was less than like 200 of them achieved from what I read. So I could have read wrong, but from what I read, there's less than 200 of them achieved. So even though it's not serial numbered on the back, it's a lot harder to get. And it has a gloss finish. You can tell the difference between it and the regular Marvel masterpiece because the front of it is like embossed, like glossy. Now back to the question, it's going to all depend on the character. You can buy like Adam Warlock out of 199 for like $10 or cheaper. But Miles Morales, it's all about categorizing your characters. Do I think it's worth buying all the characters out of 199? Not really, even if they're cheap. Unless you're going to stash them and hope, Adam Warlock's going to show up on the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and maybe then you got a little something. But I have one. It's over there. I can't reach it. When I was in Arizona last March for vacation, I stopped at a card shop in Phoenix, and they had some Marvel cards, and I went through them and I pulled 2 of them out because they looked neat and bought them dirt cheap. I didn't even know what they were. Come to find out, one of them is a Marvel Masterpiece Purple of Thor, and the other one is a Spectra Battle. It's not the Spectra Battle, or it's not the Battle Gems. It's the same image, but it's Iron Man versus Captain America in the Spectra foil. So it's not the Spectra Battle Gem, but it's the Spectra foil. So it's still like a $75 card.
To answer Glorious's question, yeah, I have tons of Marvel complete sets. I mean, I have one sitting right here in the binder. This is the 2014 Rittenhouse Sapphire, which is the insert, like the limited set. It's not the numbered version, but they're still pretty rare. Like I have the whole set of this I bought as a complete set. And like I have X-Men Metal complete set. I have 90s Marvel Universe complete sets, 92 Jim Lee X-Men complete sets. Like
I have a
complete sets.
I have a 1990 Impel complete set. I have 2 1995 Fleer Metal complete sets and 2 1994, I believe, Flare complete sets. Those were in those binders that I bought a while back from a comic book shop. They even had all the inserts, like all the Power Blast inserts and the what are they called? Some ones that look like slow motion. They look like they're like acetate cards on like a film reel. I don't even know if they have any value to them. They're still in those binders, and they've been in my closet even since the Marvel cards have heated up. I still haven't pulled them out to see what's in there.
Yeah. Yeah, the most modern set that I have is the X-Men Metal. I'm still actually technically missing a couple high series cards that I could knock out for about 50 cents if I just put the effort into it, but I just keep forgetting.
Marvel card collectors try to build insane sets. I mean, we're talking about people trying to put together PMG complete sets.
There's basically 2 types of Marvel card collectors. I'm speaking very broadly here. Complete set collectors and character collectors. It's kind of like almost kind of how it breaks down.
Mm-hmm.
Like they either want every card of whatever character it is that they collect, or they want to put the whole set together. It seems like there's not a lot of cross pollination between those two, which I get. It would get super expensive and super difficult. I haven't bought a comic book for a while. I'm kind of itching. Some X-Men 14s popped up on my slabs that I'm intrigued by, which is First Sentinels. So to put with my big guy back there. I would really like a Scarlet Witch. That first Scarlet Witch.
X-Men?
Yeah.
X-Men 4?
I don't know what we talked about this earlier. I don't know what I want to get coming out of Atlanta. I would love to run into a Soto first Bowman Chrome, but I'm probably not. The prices are still way up on that. I would love for baseball to knock out an agreement before the Atlanta show, because I have a lot of baseball slabs. And I don't know if you saw it on IG or the thing, I picked this up specifically to take to Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I put a Trey Young card on my watch list last night. I let like 30 minutes go by, went back to my watch list, and somebody bought it now. I was like,
how much was it?
$560.
Was it a red mosaic?
Yes. Did you buy that?
No, I didn't buy it, but I have that as a saved search because I have one.
Yeah, I put that on my watch. Okay, I was like, okay, I'm gonna look at some nice Trey low pop color matches. I pulled that one up.
Yeah.
I remember when that card was like 1,000 plus.
Yeah, trust me too, because I paid $900 for this one.
And I remember trying to buy one off somebody for $800 and then kept refusing my offer. It popped up last night for $560, and there was another one listed for,
I think it was $589.
was it $589? And there's another one
listed for
$589
best offer, and it was gone fast.
It went fast.
Did it actually sell, or did it just get pulled?
No, I looked. It said sold.
Did someone just bin it, or did they offer it?
I don't know. It was gone.
I was
like,
card.
man. I was like, I just added that to my watch list because I told you I've been starting
like that. This is like, I think this is under Pop 30. There's not a lot of these.
It's exactly Pop 30, or at least that's what they said in their listing. Pop 30.
Yeah, it's low. There's not a ton of these out there. Even though I'm under on this, I freaking love this card. This is
I sold my I had that in a PSA 9. I sold it at the Philly show before the season started for $350. Okay, so when I saw a PSA 10 pop up for $560 or whatever it was, I was like, that seems like a hell of a deal. Let me stick that on my watch list for a second, and I'll get back to it.
I'll tell you the other one that's underrated.
It was gone.
This is another one that's underrated on him. So it's just the Opticalo PSA 10.
Mm-hmm.
There's something specifically about this card. This is half the pop of the Luka Opticalo. So there's something, whether it was like a common print defect on this or what. This is pop 166, I think. And the Luka Opticalo is like 275 in a PSA 10. So I always thought these were really slept on because of the pop count differences. Like, I think these go for, I think last comp on this is like $700 or $800, give or take. Which to me seems reasonable for a very low pop tray.
But I think what's happening is, how nobody wants base right now. Not nobody. Some people still like it. But I mean, right now, base just isn't moving at premiums or moving much at all. And then you got the silvers and the hollows, which was the way everybody used to go. I believe so many people are caught up in color match and serial numbers that even silvers and hollows a little bit are starting to be kind of like, well, it's not a color match. Oh, it's not serial numbered.
I got some Tatum for you for Atlanta.
Yeah, see that one. I got a Tatum optic hollow that I picked up in a whatnot auction. The price was just too good. So
yeah, I got a decent amount of baseball. I did trade a lot of baseball away in that Acuna deal, but I still have a fair amount. I'm definitely putting one of my Soto pinks on the table.
Yeah. For
sure. I'm going to lay out a Soto pink at the table.
I'm hoping to sell my DeAndre Hunters. If I can't sell them in Atlanta, I can't sell them.
Someone said a PSA 9 Wolverine Jambalaya just got listed.
Which year?
I don't know that. I don't watch the Jambalayas that much. I'm not a big fan of Jambalayas. I get why people are. I'm just not. Like, I would never go gaga over like a Spider-Gwen Jambalaya. I would much rather have the PMG. Some of the artwork looks weird on them and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Jambalayas, but I do agree. Some of the artwork looks not that good, and some of it looks really good. Like, I don't like the artwork of the Doctor Strange 2017. I think he kind of looks kind of funny. I don't know. He looks more like a vampire than he does Doctor Strange. He looks more like Mephisto probably, but like the Carnage looks awesome. Hobgoblin looks awesome. So it's like some of them look really good and some of them look not so good. Lizard doesn't look that good. Like Kraven looks really cool. I got a lot of the Spider-Man villains. Dr. Octopus looks really cool on his. So it's kind of like some of them are. The Mysterio one looks awesome too. But some of them do look kind of funny.
Luka has 43 in the fourth quarter.
And his cards won't
out
move.
with KP gun. He's a happy man.
And his cards won't move. Not up.
Someone asked what the card stock is on 2016 Marvel Masterpieces. Those are 130 point, aren't they?
Let me see.
They're thick stock. I shouldn't say 130 point, but they're definitely not regular.
2016
cards, right?
Masterpieces?
Yeah, I thought those were thick cards. Are they 130?
Yeah, that's pretty thick.
Yeah, it's like the PMGs.
Yeah. So are the Royal Foil. So are the Gold Web. Intimidation Nation is basic stock.
Mike asks, will DC cards ever become popular or go bonkers? I personally don't think so. DC is just not Marvel. I don't think it ever will be.
Not to the magnitude of Marvel.
There's also just not a lot of DC cards out there compared to Marvel either.
Yeah, your vintage Batmans and Supermans and that cool stuff, yes, it already does. It already has gone bonkers and draws big money.
I agree with that.
But newer stuff, don't see it.
I'm going to be very curious to see if this Canadian MM0 gets a bid on it or not. I wonder how many people just even know that card's listed. Plus, Canada thinks flying. There's only 20 people watching it compared to where are the US ones at? Oh, where did those go? There's 2 of them up for auction. When do they end? I have way too many things on my. I actually got. Have you ever got the warning from eBay that's like you have too many things on your watch list?
No, I try to keep my watch list cleaned up, man. I don't want to get overwhelmed.
So this is the difference between those two. One, it's in Canada, so that's going to give it a little bit of a hit. But they labeled it MMO instead of MM0. That auction ends in 15 minutes. It has 20 watchers on it. The 2 US ones have 50 and 60 watchers on it, and they have almost 3 full days left on them. So that's what a spelling error does to you.
See, when I search that, I just search 2017 Spider-Man achievement. I don't.
A lot of people do put achievement in the listing because they don't realize it.
Yeah.
My general search is just MM0 is typically what I do. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and start winding down here. We're over almost 3 hours. I did not expect to go this long, but we all know that's typically what happens when we do these things. So smash the like button on your way out the door. And then one thing that I did want to talk about real quick before we end. Let me share my screen again. I'm going to link to this. I need chat to do me a favor. You talked about him today too. GG Man. GG Man Marvel cards, collecting and investing. I'm going to link to his YouTube channel.
It's Gingy.
When this stream ends, if you're interested in Marvel cards at all, you're going to go to subscribe to his channel. The reason why, he's at 937 subscribers. We need to get him to 1,000. So 1,000 is just a big round number. And 2, it means he can monetize. So if you're interested in Marvel cards at all, he's basically me without the charts and graphs talking about the Marvel market. So go check out his channel. Got the cool British accent and everything. And let's see if we can't get him closer to 1,000 subscribers. That's your goal, chat. Hit the like button and go subscribe to his channel and check out his content. So
that's what I said. I tried to say that today, not to cut you off, but at the end of my live stream, because I get a lot of questions about Marvel cards, and I have a lot of questions about Marvel cards. Where do I get a lot of my Marvel card answers? From content. I do my own research. Now that a lot of that research involves looking at other people's content and talking to people in Instagram chats and stuff that I've made new relationships with. So if you're interested in Marvel cards, and I know it's not everybody's thing, I'm not telling you to do Marvel cards, but if you are interested in Marvel cards, there's content out there. It's not just us sports guys talking about Marvel cards.
Yeah, these are the OGs. You're going to the source.
And I didn't know that. I'm just like a lot of you guys. I didn't know that. I didn't know that these channels were out there. I don't know why. They just overlooked. They never came up in my feeds or anything. But I'm subscribed to a lot of them now.
Yeah, the big thing that he does, which I really like, are these top 10 Marvel card sales of the week. Like he does these every every 5 days. He pops these off.
Yeah, it's like your market breakdown, kind of like I said.
It's kind of like my weekly sports card market update. So I want to get him to 1,000 subscribers. Whatever we need to do to get GG to 1,000 subscribers, that's what we need to do. So, yeah, that's all I have for you boys and girls tonight. Steve, do you have any actual planned content coming out, or just more skinny dipping?
I have a mail day that's not going to include my Marvel cards, because I have a strictly other video on just my Marvel cards, because like I said, I get the questions of what PMGs, what else? And then Vibranium has gotten too expensive. So tonight you got to see a little taste of some of the stuff I've been buying, Upper Deck Premier numbered out of 25. Intimidation Nations are kind of affordable. Royal foils on certain characters, just other sets that are out there.
Are pricey. Spider-Man Royal foil is like a 2K card.
Yeah, but I mean, like if you are like looking to collect your character, like Hawkeye, Hawkeye's more like
dirt cheap.
Yeah, he's probably more like a $50 card. And a lot of people would be surprised by that. How can Spider-Man be 2,000 and Hawkeye be 50? Well, like I talked earlier about different
Spider-Man's the Jordan.
Yeah, Spider-Man's like Jordan, and even though Hawkeye just had a television show,
he's still Hawkeye.
Super popular. So, yeah, just some other sets that I've just been looking at. I want to do that video. I think I'm just going to do a quick Instagram reel, finally showing all this Star Wars characters that I picked up from the toy shop.
You bought all those toys the other day.
Yeah, well, I'm jacked about these two.
There you go. Those
I got Han and Chewie and
you should bring them with you and put them in the case.
The original action figures. I don't know if you can see the.
Yeah, I saw you got the Darth Vader case.
Darth Vader's behind me case. Yeah. So these were just sweet. Got a Boba Fett.
There you go.
So yeah, pick those up. Doing the more live streams, people tend to be interested in just me walking around acting like a fool.
Yeah, live streams are fun. I mean, obviously.
I want to see. I want to know if Kenny and Roth got to see any of those promos I was cutting on them today.
I didn't catch your whole live stream today. I missed those, so I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch. Or you should clip those. You should make like a little right before the Atlanta show. You should download your live streams and clip that stuff out and make like a little 10-minute highlight reel of all the like. What was your other one the other day? Like the Brobo G.I. Joe and the PM Jesus and the whatever you were doing today.
I was talking about basketball today with Kenny and Roth and just cutting a promo, talking trash about playing basketball.
Yeah, we got to share table space with them, so we got to be semi-nice before you school them on the court.
Oh, that's all it was. It was just fun. It was
got to let some. You don't want to make them mad. They won't let no deals fall to you.
Yeah, I was just going on. I probably won't even be in shape to play any basketball in Atlanta.
We'll be swooping up all the good slabs before they ever see our table or our end of the table. So yeah, what do I got tomorrow? I originally had a mail day video for tomorrow. I'm going to push that to Monday because of the SGC thing. So tomorrow will be talking about the SGC fake card thing and the way that they handled it. I don't think I'll have a video Saturday. I mean, I have stuff I could put up, but I'll probably just save it for next week. Since I'm going to be traveling, I'd rather kind of hold some mail day and PSA submission videos in reserve just in case. And then Sunday normal market video, and then Monday not sure yet. But I have 2 videos in the can that are a mail day and a PSA video. But tomorrow is 100% a video about the SGC fake card thing. So, but yeah, that's all I got for you, boys and girls. Go check out Flipping Steve. Go check out GG Man Marvel Cards Collecting and Investing. Let's get him the 1K subscribers. And we will catch you guys and girls on the next one. And come see us in Atlanta. I don't know. Do you have a table number or anything you should be advertising?
Right in the middle.
Boy, Steve, We need to work on your marketing,
It's,
buddy.
well, it's weird because the way that they issue table numbers, it's like seats at a stadium. So it says it's like row A, seat 15 or something like that.
You don't know what we are?
So no, I know the location, but I don't know the exact number.
Okay. You need to figure that out. That's what you got to start pimping.
Yeah, because I don't know if those exact numbers are actually going to apply. Like when you get there, your table number might actually be like, okay, your booth number 150. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
But on the ticket purchase, it was like,
you need to do like everyone else is doing with the little map. You put the map and then you put your logo over where your table is.
I did that.
Oh, you did do that?
There's one in the Instagram chat.
Did you post it on your actual IG though?
No.
Wow. So you post it on your IG, and then I could share it and be like, "This is if you want to find me and Steve. This is where we're gonna be."
Yeah.
Because I'll probably either be at the table or roaming around, and I assume you're gonna be the same. If I'm probably have me watch the table for a little bit, so you could go roam around.
We'll be back and forth.
Yeah. So
we'll be easy to find.
Yeah. We're not hard to find, that's for sure. Just look for Steve Shine or
Yeah. Look for the shiner. I might wear a hat.
Wear your rock and roll wig.
Well, I get recognized most when I wear my Pearl Jam hat. I walk around. I walked around the National. I think the first day of the National, I walked around with a different hat on. I don't remember what hat it was. The second day I walked around the National, my Pearl Jam hat, it was like everybody knew who I was.
Wait a second. Charles, are you setting up at Atlanta? Is Charles setting up at Atlanta?
I didn't know. Maybe he got a table. I know that he was going. There was tables available.
Before I end this live stream, Charles, confirm or deny that you were setting up at Atlanta? I know that there's been a lot of people in the Marvel chat that's like, oh, yeah, we got tables. We're going to share a table. Like, I lost track.
Yeah, so, and my thing was, I was going to go there and hopefully be one of the only people with Marvel cards.
Half the
and now
freaking show is going to be Marvel cards.
It's going to be, everybody's going to be there with Marvel cards.
Because you got Merle, you got the Curator, Fornos has some, Justin's setting up.
I'm just going to sell all my Marvel cards to all the people that are setting up around me selling Marvel cards.
Yeah, he's sharing a case. Look at this freaking guy.
I
didn't know we were going to meet the Stacking Gems in person. This is like, I got to bring nicer clothes and shit with me now.
Yeah, who are you sharing with?
Jeez.
You're right behind
my game up. I got to bedazzle my case. Like, holy hell. Yeah, who are you sharing with, Charles? That's probably in the IG chat. I probably just missed it.
That IG chat moves too fast.
Yeah, if you walk away for a few minutes and sometimes you come back to 65 missed messages and I'm just like, woof.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm guilty of that sometimes, don't get me wrong, but still no bids on this MM0 that ends in 5 minutes. Phoenix, there's Spidey Jews going, Sketch Card Hives going that I know of. A bunch of other people in that Marvel chat are going. Apparently Gems is going, Merle's going, Curator's going, I'm going, you're going. Dustin, Personal Finance Dad, is going. Dakota's maybe on the fence about going. Roth and Kenny are obviously going, and then probably the other usual vlogging crew will be there. I don't know if I haven't heard if Card Collector 2 is going or not. I don't know if Sasha's flying in. I think he stays mostly West Coast now. Sam from Women of the Hobby is going to be there for part of Saturday and most of Sunday. Oh yeah, Scandal and Marvel Madness. That's who he's sharing space with.
Yeah. And Marvel guy, he's going, right?
I think so. I don't know if he's setting up though. I think he's just going.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. There might be weird table sharing situations. I think there's a lot of that going on. So, all right, I'm going to hit the end stream button. Otherwise, we'll just keep bullshitting. So we will catch you guys and girls later. Like, comment, subscribe, GG Man's channel, the whole 9 yards. We'll catch you guys and girls later. Peace.